So, recently in your adventure, you all continued on your journey on the Eventide Road westward toward Ostennis, the capital of Creatia. Your second day of travel provided some minor points of interest, but otherwise had a fairly uneventful day and made it to the mining town of Cardigan Post in the late afternoon. At Gallus' suggestion that you should all bed for the night in the town rather than risk it on the road, you entered the city and were informed of some serious seismic activity causing problems in the mines. Since the miners had been put out of their homes near the caves and were instead occupying the typical guest spots in the inn, you all decided to help investigate and clear out the mine, hoping to earn some coin and free up inn space by helping the miners get back to their homes. You spoke with Foreman Balan, an impatient dwarf who seemed to prioritize his record keeping logs over the miners and guards that had gone down to investigate. You descended into the pits, faced off against some stalactite like creatures and large wolf like bear like beasts, and discovered many dead miners, two dead glass guard, and more notably, possibly, many dead soldiers in Durastian armor. You rescued a single miner named Kellen, who had survived down there, and Gallus escorted him back up to the surface. And then you were able to finally clear a path to the foreman's chamber. Through some very thorough investigative work, you discovered some shady evidence that Balan may have been in cahoots with Durastian forces, letting soldiers into Creatia through the mines for hefty sums of gold. You rested briefly to catch your breath, and we pick back up as you have made your way back to the surface and are about to exit the cave entrance in the evening of Tyrdas 26th of Hearthfire.
I was waiting for that. Tyrdas 26.
So, as you kind of approach the mouth of the cave, even the dim light of the sunset sky further out is still bright enough to obscure your vision of the town ahead. Squinting a bit as you emerge from the dark mines, you can see several glass guards in their typical amber armor, about 20 feet ahead, talking amongst each other, and the lieutenant, Oliver, is talking to Balan. But you are able to kind of arrive at the
mouth of it.
Yeah.
Before we arrive,
Did the map update for you guys?
It has not.
That's through the mine.
Yes, it's different from the end of last session. We were at the top of the mine.
Yeah, I just tried to update further. My computer was being odd, but I'm just gonna kind of put you guys back here now.
Gotcha.
Kind of as you're approaching, exiting the mine, essentially, and you see a group of glass guard talking kind of excitedly or like with more energy and enthusiasm in their voices and stuff, and Oliver is still talking to Balan. But you are able to.
Before we exit, I want to ask, so who's going to do most of the talking here? Who feels comfortable with the legal system and the rationale behind this?
I thought about this. Okay. Whichever of you three wants to, talk to Alvar, talk to Balan, I kind of want to make somewhat of a beeline. I just want to get to Gallus and I want to keep this hush. I don't think we should confront this here. We're on our way to Ostennis. I think we can bring this possible corruption up there. So I just want to let Gallus know that there's some stuff going on. We can't talk about it tonight. We'll fill him in on the journey tomorrow. I don't know how much we're going to be able to accomplish if we just bring this to light right now.
I do disagree completely, but Roulette, what do you think?
DM, quick question. I'm assuming, so we sent Gallus up with Kellen.
And he is not clearly, as you're approaching the mouth of this cave, and your eyes are kind of adjusting from dark to light vision. He does not seem to clearly be in immediate visible view. So he must have helped, and you hadn't seen him on the way out either. So supposedly he probably made it out the mouth of the cave and is somewhere in the city, possibly tending to Kellen.
Okay. Like on the steps as we're going up. I kind of agree with as much as I want to rub it in the face of this angry little dwarf here. I kind of agree with Toby, and the one big thing, kind of calculating odds here. This book, even at first glance, I know I don't know the full machinations of it, but it's definitely meant to be a bit of disguising assistant. These clothes in here, along with the letter that we found in Balan's book, Balan's helping smuggle these Durastian soldiers in. And the biggest thing about him smuggling some of these soldiers in is we don't know who these Durastian soldiers are. Every single one of those glass guard we walked by could have been a Durastian. I have no idea what kind of control this Balan character has, and if we see him with a bunch of glass guard as soon as we walk up, there's a chance that they just might attack us. They might kill us. They might try to sweep this under the rug.
So there was the ledger, which was separate from the book of Clothier Croquis, and then there was also the letter. So 3 separate things.
Yes.
Okay. In addition to like the decanter of endless water and some other gemstones and gold you acquired.
But in terms of books, those were 3 separate articles.
Yes. And as you're discussing this and bringing that up, are those on your person right now? Are they stowed away somewhere? I kind of want to get an idea for how visible what is.
We should hide this stuff for sure.
I thought about that as well. We should say that his office was in ruins, and we did tear it up a good bit, and there was no sign of his ledger.
Toby, this is
I've got a better idea. Let's just not lie. Let's just say it's destroyed.
It is destroyed.
I agree with all this, but I have faith in the glass god. From what if we separated Balan and said we just have a report for the head of the glass god and we tell them some details, see how they react, and just keep sharing the truth. I have a feeling when we get to Ostenis, a little mining town is small potatoes to the king, whoever leads this capital there, and we don't know how quickly we'll be able to report anything or if they'll care. I think that the glass god would like to know here.
I disagree on 2 separate things. Roulette made a good point of they could be under disguise as well, and we now don't necessarily have a way of discerning that. But then we know that the nation is very keen on what goes on here because they supply some pretty essential resources. So if whoever's in charge is doing some illicit stuff, I mean, I don't know that people are going to trust 4 strangers' words over us providing some evidence to some people higher up.
DM, from what Gallus told us, or like introductions, Cardigan Post, is Balan in charge?
Balan is at least in charge of the mine, which gives him a very high standing in the overall town because it's such a crucial point of the town's economy. However, he did, whether I mentioned this in session or not, he did mention to you guys that he wondered if Oliver was still here. So he seems to have had some past dealings with Lieutenant Oliver at some point in the past. So,
and there was also that we saw the letter from, I think it's the Queen, or someone of a similar rank, maybe a bit below, saying, "We're going to decline your offer for more pay."
It was the letter. That letter was signed M.
Yeah, we don't know who that's from.
Right.
Gary, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking if it might be good to talk to him at least and just like see what he has to say, what questions he's asking, right? Maybe we could ask to talk to him privately, and if we do, maybe I'll distract the guards and you guys can talk to him.
I think we should try and hide these 3 very important, I think they're pieces of evidence, and we don't know if he's doing something right. Maybe he's trying to get creations into duress, but we saw the Durastian soldiers down low, so we don't have details yet. But
now,
if we tell him we know stuff, he's gonna immediately try and snuff us out.
Right, so you keep it vague. Just see what he says. Don't do a lot of talking. But the question is, do we need to hide this stuff before we meet with them? Or do you think it'll be safe if we just put it in our packs?
Jerry, you've got some very flowy clothes. Do you have some undergarments? Maybe you could like strap them in under your belt, or like in a breast pocket, or.
Yeah, I got plenty of room in here.
That's a good start.
What are you trying to hide in Jiri's apparel specifically? The ledger, the logbook, I should state, by the way, is the journal's fairly small. The letter certainly can be folded up and stored in very discrete locations. The ledger of logbook activity is much larger. It's not enormous, but I mean, it's probably 2 feet wide by a foot tall. Like it's bound with heavy rings.
Yeah.
Like it's definitely more cumbersome to stuff in a pocket, shall we say.
Why we could say we found the ledger in the destroyed office, and we could give that to the head of the Glass Guard, and we could give them some of the evidence, not all of it. We could say some of it was ransacked and taken.
And we have a bit of we located a couple shady entries in there, right?
Many.
Roulette did. DM, could you do me a favor and describe the ledger, specifically the binding of it?
Sure. You clearly have something you want to do, so I'll be very specific with how I word this. I would say the construction of the pages are paper, simple parchment, although maybe larger than typical sheets of parchment. But they're all cut relatively simply. The front and back cover pages, shall we say, are like a thicker cardboard material wrapped in leather. So it's like fairly well kept. And I would say 4 large metal rings, essentially three hole punch, but like 4 hole punch style metal rings bound that can keep all of those pages together.
Jiri, I'm not sure if you're the one who just said this, but I am fully on board with handing this ledger over to Balan, minus these 17 pages or so that contain, and I'm assuming with my investigation, I remember I rolled like a 26 or something.
You rolled very well. You're very familiar with what pages you found the discrepancies on from kind of a bookkeeping standpoint.
Won't he realize we've taken the most important pages of his ledger?
Maybe we go back far and not the more recent things that are off. I don't know.
I just would like to pose that this is exceptionally complicated how we're making it. We have loads of evidence. We give it to the lawmen and they arrest the bad person. Is that not how it works here?
Who's the lawman you're proposing we give it to?
Alva, the head of the Glass Guard, who Gallus knows.
Did we see, or well, we're not up there yet.
We will look more incriminated stealing pages and trying to keep secrets than if we just tell. We have no reason to think that there's suspicion with the Glass Guard.
So what was his name?
It was Alver, Lieutenant Alver.
Oliver, like Oliver, but with an A. Yeah.
And this was a Gallus identified person or a Balan identified person?
He knew both.
Gallus knew Balan was running the mines and wondered if Lieutenant Oliver was still here in the city.
Oh, I did not know that.
Seemingly had met and communicated at some point in his past with both.
I'm also carrying Jurassian armor, and I will look very suspicious if I'm found and having smuggled it out at any point in the next fortnight. And I don't.
Do you want to keep that?
Absolutely. This is so
That's why I'm
valuable.
wondering if there's a way we can get it out without them seeing.
But why not just tell them?
Well, they're probably going to take it from you.
I'd rather them take it than me get arrested.
Jumping back, what Roulette said, I didn't know Oliver was a Gallus friend, so he's just as good as Gallus in my mind.
Okay. Let's exit. Say nothing was found. Try and approach Oliver. Fill him in, and he can direct us where he feels fit.
Jackpot.
We shouldn't even say that we didn't find anything. We're just like, we need to talk to Lieutenant Alver and Balan and Gallus all at the same time.
Balan will watch him sweat as we bring out his ledger.
Boom. That's the one.
We need everyone there to talk to at the same time before we even say anything.
And so as we're having this conversation, we're kind of cresting the mouth. You said it's not quite sunset, like the sun hasn't fully.
It is sun setting, so
but
it's
still
orange and reds in the sky, but it's just there's this kind of sensation as it's dim light outside, but it still looks very bright from you guys having just been in darkness for the past hours. So it is just kind of blinding and obscuring your clear view of what's going out right outside the mouth of the cave. But as soon as you kind of continue up, that's when you see multiple glass guard talking with each other. Oliver is talking with Balan, and one of them notices you guys kind of come out of the cave and says, "Oi, there they are now. They made it back."
DM, and both books are in my backpack.
Okay.
And I swaddled the Duracian armor in that silver cloak.
And I think Jiri has the note from M in his pockets somewhere.
I'll lead it out and say, "Hail, Glassguard, please."
The familiar human face of Lieutenant Oliver standing next to Balan turns in your direction, and he pauses that conversation to approach you guys. "Hail, friends. Gallus was able to escort young Kellen back up and over to the Centrestone Inn. I believe he's still there with him now, but I'm happy to see you all return. Are you all right? What happened down there?"
I'll, if he's, doesn't, resist, I'll try and just kind of get in close and be like, "We need to speak with you. We need to speak with Gallus. We need to speak with Balan. There's some important information we need to discuss."
Make a persuasion check.
I'm going to roll physically, unless you would rather I not.
Let's roll 20 this one.
Okay.
Not that I don't trust you, but this is like, it's gonna just like slightly modify things maybe. Certainly, Toby Rama, right? We can absolutely talk. But quickly, how are things down in the mine? Gallus said there were many dead bodies on his way up. Anything of note down there? Were you able to determine if our Glass Guard soldiers were down there?
There were some monstrosities that seemed to come from deep within. We barely managed to slay them all. We saw some Glass Guard fallen soldiers as well as some miners. I think there was 11 total as we made our way down.
There's no one left alive down there.
The threat, we believe, is neutralized.
This is going to be heartbreaking for some of the families here, that some of their loved ones have unfortunately not made it. But honestly, I was scared to admit myself that was my suspicion. I'm terribly happy you are all right. Are you okay? It looks like you're banged up a little bit, but
we'll be okay. We just, probably just a good night's sleep after all this, is figured out.
You feel the caves are clear now and void of threats at this time?
The monstrosities we faced. I don't even know what they were, but I've seen some beasts like this in mines before. They come from an underground entrance to some other hellish place, and whatever entrance that was that they were using seems to have collapsed in, caved in. So whatever non-Cardigan Post material plane beast was in there, their entrance is closed. And at least the 4-6 things that we killed seem to be the last of them down there.
What about my ledger? Where is my ledger? And Balan kind of runs up to you guys. Were you able to find anything? The foreman's chamber, was there anything left?
I say, surely, friend, you'd rather hear about the lives lost and who we were able to save before we get into that.
Yes, a terrible tragedy. We'll never be able to replace those miners.
Why don't we then go?
But I also have an economy feeding many lives in this town that I need to keep going.
So I'd actually rather check in on Kellen, the survivor, and hear how he did before we worry about that. So why don't we go have a meeting with Gallus and Kellen, and all of us can talk?
Very well. If it'll help me figure out if anything's salvageable down there, by all means.
And Balan, if you want to get a head start, if you've got any night shift folks, feel free to send them down. We obviously send a scouting crew down first, but we've cleared the mines. So if you have a night crew that you want to get started, have them check it out. Obviously, be wary. There might be a few small scraps left, but send them on down. Get that economy jump started.
And take some ropes because one of the bridges is down.
Very well. You two guards, can you go see if everything's okay down there? If we can send more workers down, we must get this back up at once. You guys, if you guys are interested, okay. And Oliver will kind of say, all right, if you want to see Gallus, I believe he's over at the Center Stone Inn. Should be where Kellen was as well. And he will kind of lead you southward toward these bunks down here, where these kind of base or these. I'm sorry. Yeah, the rock bunks is the area of the town that it's called, the rock bunks.
I picture some beans for a minute.
Yeah. And Center Stone Inn is this one at the corner. So he will lead you down there. And Gallus will be in the doorway, see you guys approaching, and will come out to greet you. So yeah, go ahead and let's move Oliver with you guys. We'll move Balan with you guys, and you guys can all move yourselves down kind of lower in the map. But as Gallus is at the Center Stone Inn and seemingly talking with people inside, but leaves them for a moment to step outside and greet you all as you come up. Hey, it's great to see you guys. I was a little worried. I knew you could handle yourself, but anything else surprising or of note down there? Kellen's pretty shaken up, but I think he'll be all right.
That's good. That's good to hear.
We'd love a meeting room of sorts so we could report.
Yeah.
Well, it seems your friends would like to have a meeting real quick to potentially give a full report. So we're interested in doing that. So Balan can potentially see to the stabilization of the mines and get workers back if he needs. But we're happy to hear a full report. And Gallus will kind of say, that sounds great. Happy to have it. Can I borrow these real quick for a second? Yes, of course. Balan. And he kind of goes in, starts talking to Balan. But Gallus will kind of catch you guys' attention and suggest you step over to the side real quick. So he'll kind of lead you guys over here, slightly out of earshot of some of the onlookers and guards, and kind of leans into you guys with a hushed voice a little bit. All right. Kellen will be fine. He's with his friends and he's resting now. I think he's asleep finally. I spoke with his friends a little bit, and several of the workers suggested that with how deep they've gone in recent months, some of them have felt the tunnels vibrate slightly, and they've heard rushing water overhead. I don't necessarily fully understand what's going on here, but I was getting the sense from the miners that some of the deepest tunnels were going under the Mirror River. Potentially, I don't know what that could implicate.
Just a quick question. Mirror River is the river that separates Duras from Croatia.
Separates Duras from Croatia, and it is directly, you are on the cliff edge. If you went the mine shaft, like if you were to go past that, there's a huge cliff face that drops down to the Mirror River Valley. So it is directly right to the north of you.
Gallus, how well do you trust Alva?
Seems fine enough, man. I've known him for, I shouldn't say I really know him, but I met him a few years back, and he was a really stand-up guy. He was actually a soldier here before I didn't know he was lieutenant until today. He used to be a soldier here. So he's really probably grown in the ranks, but I've always trusted the man.
How well do you trust that dwarf, Balan? Is he a dwarf? Sorry,
yes.
Racist.
No, he is.
He is a dwarf. I can't speak that much to Balan's character. Frankly, he rubs me the wrong way. I think his priorities are out of whack, so I can't maybe give a unbiased opinion of his character, but I don't know.
We have some sensitive information, and while we've got you here, I don't want to get into it quite yet, but while we've got you here, we were thinking about having a meeting with you, Oliver, Balan. We're also wondering about maybe moving on and maybe bring this to the light of the higher ups in Austenus.
Toby, quick, just a quick note. So, Gallus, two things. One, while we were down there, we found more of that Durastian armor. Same stuff that we found in the cornfield back in Forest Hollow.
And about 30 bodies.
Is 19.
And we think Balan was smuggling Durastian soldiers through, and that's why they were digging.
I am going to be looking and seeing if anyone's sneaking in on this conversation.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Because Gallus is making a big face to this, so I don't want to be that weird about it.
Toby Ramen, make a perception check, and Gallus is definitely visibly reacting to the news and is like, what do you mean there were 20 or 30 bodies down there in Durastian armor?
We could take you down there right now and show you heaps of bodies in Durastian armor.
14 perception.
I have plate armor in my pack right now that we took off one of the bodies, and we have letters saying it was Balan smuggling them through. Ish.
Gallus thinks for a minute.
Good actor.
Fast, Jesus. Fascinating.
Gallus, it'll be a bit easier. We trust Gallus. Jiri, do me a favor.
If we don't trust Gallus, what do we
Hold on.
trust?
Jiri is sticking to the plan, and he is distracting all the guards near you to prevent any people from over here.
Is that what I see as I'm looking over everyone's heads?
Oh, I was going to ask Jiri for the letter.
Sorry, Toby, what was your perception roll?
14.
14. So you see, Jiri, did you say you had gone over to engage in conversation with them and were drawing attention to yourself? And
so when Gallus pulled them, I drifted off towards the guards and started making kind of a show of things.
Sure. And you do so. Yep. And you do so, Toby Ron, with your perception check. You very clear. Balan could not care less about you guys' presence. He is very agitated, impatient, trying to get people down to his situation. And Gallus is pondering, and it's like,
he's just nervous.
If they've been digging, possibly unaware, under the river, that's got to be so deep to get under the Mirror River.
And we think that's why they breached the Undercommon and the creatures came.
So the size, interesting. Their recent seismic activity could have shaken loose some stone of some kind. Sorry.
I was having myself, so I kept saying Undercommon instead of Underdark.
Yeah. If you're suggesting Durastian soldiers have been coming through a tunnel under the Mirror River, I'm starting to suspect those people, those bandits that showed up in Forest Hollow, they didn't have much Durastian iconography on them. One had like a belt or a plate, and I wonder if they may have been deserters that made it through and just ditched out on whatever's going on here. But interesting. Okay, let's have the meeting. Yeah. I definitely want to get Oliver up to speed on this. This is something I trust in his judgment to see through.
Shall we expose Balan here? We have a letter. Jiri actually has it right now, but saying that he was.
We have evidence, physical evidence that implicates Balan.
So.
And don't say he'll have a chance to clear up the bodies if he knows they're there, and we lose even some of our credibility.
Okay. Let's have a meeting.
My final thing is keep your sword hand ready. There's a high likelihood that some of these Durastian soldiers who have gotten through are disguised. I don't know. If you've known Oliver for at least a little bit, he's probably good, but there's a chance that one or more of the people who look normal and safe and regular members of Cardigan Post might be Durastian.
Okay, this is... Sorry, guys, this is not the calm trip overnight I was hoping for. At least for now, let's play things close to the vest. let's have a meeting with Oliver and Balan, see how Balan reacts.
In a closed
Oliver.
room, no windows.
And he'll call over to Oliver and say, all right, let's find somewhere to meet real quick.
And I'll be shouldering my bow and putting on my shield. Just, holding it at the side, but, it's there.
Okay. Oliver will invite you into his own home over here. And he convinces Balan to tag along as well for your full report. And you are all able to join up in Oliver's house for the proposed meeting. All right. What is the nature of this? What would you like to bring to light or give insight for? Yes.
I'm standing with my back to the door, looking in at the room.
And I made sure to grab Jiri's arm and lead him in with us.
And Jiri says, all right, fellas, I'll finish that story. Maybe later. I'm sorry to leave you on a cliffhanger.
He's regaling them.
Hey, maybe later tonight.
Bottle.
All right, I gotta go. Bye.
All right. Gallus and company. What would you like to speak about? I have two guards assessing the situation down in the mines, and happy to talk through whatever you found down there.
Toby, would you like to give the basic assessment, and then we'll get into the details after that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We entered the mines. We started. We could see the heavy traffic leading deeper. As we made our way, we came across the first body. Then there's two more. There was some creatures. They seemed to disguise themselves among the stone. They assaulted us. We were able to deal with them. And as we got deeper and deeper, there's more bodies. And luckily, we were able to stumble upon Kellen, the miner. And
yes. Thank you for seeing to his safety, especially you, Gallus, for escorting him up. I appreciate you all.
Thank you, Gallus. As part of that, there was these weird creatures, larger than your average man, feral, but possessing some semblance of intellect.
And wolves, wolf-like,
wolves,
upgraded wolves,
bears. They assailed us, and Gallus was able to witness a couple of them, and we were able to slay them. We made sure Gallus and Kellen could get across.
And Toby, one thing that Kellen mentioned that in the past few months the miners have been pushed to dig deeper than before.
They've been pushed to dig deeper.
No deeper than is necessary to mine the veritite, of course, I assure you.
And he also mentioned that he had started seeing some miners he hadn't recognized. Either way.
One thing is, from my studies, I know that those beasts are from the Underdark, and perhaps while digging as deep as they have been pushed to dig, they aggravated or breached some tunnels, and that led the creatures up.
Either way,
well, that is terrifying. I've heard minimally about the Underdark, the network of caves deep in the earth, and I'm sure there are terrible creatures that lurk down there. Balan, you were having your miners dig deep enough to disturb the homes and abodes of Underdark creatures? No, I assure you, it's all very above board. It's just the latest. We've had to go deeper to find some more of the accessible veritite, but of course, nothing.
We saw plenty of veritite on the walls before we got too deep.
Planning for the future, you understand. We can only go so far out. We got to keep going down eventually.
I'll interject and I'll say, of course, Balan. That makes sense.
Yes.
But as we made sure Gallus and Kellen. That was weird. I don't know what that sounded really bad.
Who's there?
As we were able to make sure that Gallus and Kellen had a safe route out, we went deeper, and we actually stumbled upon what we think was... It had clearly been caved in, but we think it's where these deep-dwelling creatures had come from.
Wolf assassins, probably.
And then...
Not
too far.
Is that tunnel still... You mentioned it was caved in, so theoretically no threat of further assault by these creatures. Okay.
Quite thoroughly. And...
Oh, that's good. Can't have my miners keep being assaulted and killed by monsters.
And as we discovered it, sure enough, there was a pile of bodies there. Some odd 10, 15 or so.
I start fiddling with my pack.
And
15 in addition to the multiple you already found.
Indeed. And I think it was our friend Telperion here who had first marked it off.
He again looks to Balan and said, "Did we have that many miners down there? I thought there were only but 20 or so."
I'll try and hold my hand up as if I'm still continuing and just be like,
of course.
It was our friend Telperion here, right, who I think made the first connection. Is a number of them, if not all of them, and
is that what I think it is? Are you in possession? Are you in possession of? That looks to be armor from Durast.
He unveils it. As Telperion unveils it, I'll say they were all wearing Durastian make armor, bearing the crest of Durast.
Everyone can make a perception or insight check if they would like in this moment.
Insight all day.
I'm going to say the general DC is 15. Anyone that rolls above a 15 is going to get some version of information here. Holy shit.
What did you call it? Insight or perception?
Insight or perception.
17 perception.
Oh no, Jiri.
Jiri's thinking about flipping.
Jiri in this moment is enraptured with Toby's storytelling ability. He's like, yeah, you're painting a great picture here.
It's such a good story.
But the rest of you all notice very clearly Balan takes a couple steps back and just is seeing his face changes and his pupils dilate a little bit. Nothing more of note than that, but that's something you all catch. And so, Toby Rama, what did you present in addition to Telperion unveiling the armor?
As he was, starting to bring it out, and it seemed like Oliver was starting to recognize it, I said, nearly all of them were wearing Durastian armor of their military forces, not just some stragglers.
How is this possible? There's no near outposting gates along the mirror that...
Actually, though, we were talking with Gallus, who helped Kellen out, as you know, and he said that they were actually mining so deep, they were getting under the river.
Yes, Oliver, I was speaking with Kellen's friends, and they said their recent diggings down deep, they heard the vibrating and humming of rushing water above their heads. And I suspect however deep Balan had his miners going, not only disturbed the home of dark-dwelling creatures, but also was potentially in service of a tunnel under the Mirror River to Durast. Toby Rama, make a persuasion roll with advantage. Per all the aid from multiple sources and Gallus, go ahead and make a persuasion roll with advantage.
Yes, let's go.
Oliver is really diligently paying attention to every word you're saying and immediately looks to Balan, who has stepped back multiple paces and is clearly no longer in the close-knit conversation.
Can I try and clock? Telperion had said he's standing against the door. Can I try and clock if there's any other rooms off the side, or is this a one-room abode? I'm now that we've cornered him, I'm worried about him trying to make a getaway.
So make a perception check.
I also got my crescents ready while I was fiddling with my pack.
Okay, yeah, make a perception, Toby.
I love when it's a low.
You scan the room and you don't see any obvious entrances.
Gotcha.
Like there's a window near him, but shy of him jumping out a glass window,
Right.
you're not
Okay.
certain that there's another exit. Balan, can you answer for this? What is the meaning of this? Is this true? Is what they're saying have any truth to it? No, I assure you, this is nothing. This is a bunch of nonsense. They're misguided. He's in possession of Durastian armor. He smuggled it in and has been arming soldiers down there.
It would be so convenient if we had found some kind of communication to prove it was Balan.
Balan, Jiri, not just yet. Balan, you sent us down there with the express intent of gathering your ledger. Correct?
Yes, and it looks like you came up empty-handed.
Please hold for a second, Blonde. Two things. I have your ledger in my backpack right now. I will make you an agreement. If you
Thief, Oliver.
Blonde, if you agree to empty your pockets, I will empty all my pockets.
Of course. Absolutely. I need that ledger. He starts rifling through his pockets and, according to your request, pulls out all of his pockets with nothing in his pockets.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I will pull out the ledger. I also pull out the other Clothier Croquis book. And I'm holding onto the ledger. I'm like holding it up away from Balan.
Roulette, as you unveil that, make an insight check.
I love the fucking drama.
You can't reach it, you little shorty. You can't reach this.
11.
Above a 10 is good enough to know the coloration in his face goes away a little bit. He's paling up. He's getting clammy. His adrenaline is spiking. He is feeling very uncomfortable and uncertain right now.
Now, Oliver, I don't know how mathematically inclined you are, but I'd like to direct your attention to a few pages in this book, and I'm not going to try and RP this, but I would like to try and point out the spots where like 6 + 3 = 10 in the book.
Balan, please sit. And it will kind of like keeping his peripheral on Balan a little bit now. He will just kind of lean in and like kind of every once in a while glancing up to check on Balan. He will listen to what you have to say about the ledger and seemingly is following your mathematical discrepancies.
While they're talking, can I call Gallus over to me, and I'm going to say, Gallus, watch the door, and I'll go over. And I just want to be by Balan and have him in the door instead.
You bet.
Now, Oliver, that's we've given. I know I did not mean for this to turn into a bit of a legal proceeding, but we kind of just wanted to stay the night. So we've presented 2 pieces of evidence that we found down in that mine so far.
Every time we want to stay at an inn, we have to do a legal case to prove someone is a fucking.
I like that precedent.
One, we have the Durastian. Actually, about 4 pieces of evidence we've got coming up. I'll get to 3 and 4 in a second. First, Durastian armor on presumably Durastian soldiers down in the mine, deeper in a crevasse than they should have been. 2, this ledger showing some untoward beneath the desk operations, headed by Balan, who has admitted that this is his ledger. And 3, I think one of the biggest things, Jiri, if you wouldn't mind.
Is this the 3rd piece of evidence?
This is the moment, yeah.
Okay. And for our 3rd piece of evidence, a secret letter hidden in my blouse.
Oliver will take that and just begin to read it.
This letter. This letter was found in Balan's desk next to this letter.
He sets the letter down on the table, stands up wordlessly. Please hold. Continues out the door, pushes past Gallus, closes the door behind him. You hear a small shout, kind of inaudible almost through the door and stuff outside. But moments later, 3 glass guard and Oliver come inside. Please hold Oliver in contempt. We have more questioning to do, but evidence has stacked up against his favor, and we will need to. Yes, I'm sorry.
No, I saw Steve and Tim question. I was like, he meant to say that.
I'm sorry.
No, sorry.
Against Balan, We have reason to believe he is in cahoots with Durastian soldiers, and some correspondence has come to light that he has been smuggling Durastian soldiers into our nation under the Mirror River. Can't believe I'm saying this out loud. Sounds ridiculous. Please hold Balan in, officer, your house for the night. You, pointing to the other 2 guards. We are going to search Balan's abode. And they will, one of the glass guard kind of grabs Balan, and Balan starts like, spitting and fuming and like resisting a little bit, but like is very upset, but is led out of the room by the glass guard. And the 2 other glass guard go with Oliver to Balan's abode, leaving you 4 there to do what you want in a moment. I can't hear you. We lost
you
guys.
You guys are muted.
What was our 4th piece of evidence?
All the armor at the bottom of the pit, I think.
Yeah, man, those wolves were trying to kill me, I think. That's what was really behind this.
I was watching the whole time. They were targeting you, Jiri.
I know. It's like they have something against me. I don't like it. It's probably my curse.
While they're figuring it out, I'm going to go to the bathroom real quick.
Yep. Sounds good.
Fire break.
Critter, can you hear us?
Yes.
Oh. Is everything as it was?
Yep, it sounds pretty clear.
It literally just muted itself, and then I over corrected. Well, we may as well go real quick.
Yeah, they were doing a quick bio break, so.
That went pretty smoothly so far, at least. I what's nice is the rolls I rolled a low on were like perception and not the persuasion one that mattered. Woo. Oh, I was doing this because at a moment's notice I was going to cast command.
Oh, cool.
on Balan. I was ready to get him in order.
No. You want this where you're I love how we just are playing fucking Law and Order right now.
That was so good. That was so good.
Well, it was just yeah, very good.
I really liked that. How are we looking over here?
Looks
Okay,
like we're
your
almost
light is
back
very.
ready.
Your face looks really red, MK.
I am drinking a bit, so my cheeks are likely getting a bit red, but it has to do also with just
I think
low
your
light
lighting
cameras.
is different than usual.
Yeah.
So I want to before that guard leaves, I'll whoever has the sending stone or whoever has the magic rock that we determined is for communication. I want to
Roulette.
say, Roulette, could you show them the stone? We did find one more piece of evidence. And really, we've given you quite a bit, but if you need a bit more, this stone was used for, we think, magical communication, maybe with Balan. We're not sure.
We found it on one of the soldiers.
You two continue on to Balan's house. You have my approval to search his place. Where did you find this stone?
In the pocket of a Drostian.
Deep in the mine.
Interesting. Okay. I can't pretend I'm knowledgeable about any magical communication device, but
the Duracian we found it on.
Let me thank you all for your help in this situation. One, we appreciate Kellen's rescue. I am heartbroken that more miners were not able to be saved, but thank you for saving the one you could and for clearing the mine. Although I certainly like to make an effort to prioritize the miners' health and safety, but it is still true that the mining here is a significant part of the Amber Guard's construction, and it is a big boon of economy for the nation itself. So it has saved us. Who knows how long that you were able to clear it out.
And just again, I'll reiterate, they had not mined the place clean yet. There was a very direct intent to go deeper, and I guess now maybe we think to make this tunnel. We're not suggesting that this mine has run dry by any means.
So it seems damning enough to me, and I should keep a level head and be patient and not rush to judgment, but the man has always rubbed me the wrong way, and we will be thoroughly investigating his situation, the state of the mines, etc. If you are all interested, you can follow me to Balan's abode if you wish.
Of course.
We'd love to. Oliver, the one last thing is, if you noticed in the letter I handed you, they were talking about whoever this M was talking to Balan, talking about smuggling Duracians. I don't know how, I don't know by what method or who, but there's a likelihood that some people in this camp, even maybe at this moment, might not be who they say they are. So
that's you had mentioned that in the meeting that someone had found that they saw faces they didn't recognize in the mine. Other than passers-by stopping along the Eventide Road at our place for an overnight stay, we don't have a lot of in and out traffic, and I can't suggest in my past years here I've seen many new faces I don't recognize.
Oh, wait. Could the clothing thing have been?
Well, yeah, because I think it was just a clothing disguise that it. I don't remember. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah.
I do wonder if there was one tunnel under the Mirror River that escaped our notice. There might be additional tunnels that lead out to places I can't anticipate. It can't be off the table. So I may be mistaken, but I feel fairly confident no strangers have been exiting the mine and our town.
That's reassuring.
From this side of the mine.
He would have been smart enough to know that 10 miners go in, 10 miners come out, otherwise someone catches on. So
certainly
he's digging deep under the river north. He's probably digging deeper into Cratius to the south. So just
interesting.
Keep an eye out, I'd say.
Yes, and absolutely will.
Send some of those scouts maybe looking.
So here's the situation. Well, before I say that, let's see what we see at Balan's residence first. Please follow me. He will lead you there, and not intending to RP through every moment of this, the two guards, you walk into the house, and the two guards are kneeling on the floor, looking down with a removed floorboard, and they're just reaching out and pulling out leather satchel after leather satchel. And it seems like there are 20 leather satchels that are sitting here on the floor. Captain, Lieutenant, I apologize. It's been recent since your promotion. We've discovered that this floorboard had no nails bolting into the ground, and this officer stepped on it, and propped up a little bit, and it appears there's many burlap sacks and leather satchels down here. We haven't opened them yet. Very well. Let's see what's in them.
As we're entering and that's being presented, I'm casing the 2 guards and then also casing Oliver.
Sure.
There's
Make a general insight check.
okay.
They must have rolled real high. No one liked my joke.
18's pretty high. 18's pretty high. Oliver, you almost see deflate a little bit, almost in like, fuck,
Sadness.
like, yeah, like what the hell? All right, let's see what's inside. They open up the leather satchels, and there are rolls and rolls and rolls of leather wrapped gold coins. There must be thousands of gold coins hidden, stashed under the floorboards of his residence. Oliver doesn't even say anything. He just puts his head in his hands and holds him, like tries to gather himself.
So he seems disappointed that this was able to happen while he was looking over it. Okay.
Based on your insight check, it seems disappointment, not anything shady or some kind of we've been discovered type emotion. It is
that was the distinction
in
I
a
was
situation. Yeah.
thinking about.
Yeah.
I want to search the desk and look for the same false bottom that his other desk had.
You are welcome to do so. Investigation check.
12 plus 4. 16.
Ooh.
16's pretty good. You find no false bottom, but you do find one more small velvet purse containing 2 diamonds worth 50 gold piece each.
Oh, we are cranking.
Did anyone see me find that?
You're clearly searching. The guards are searching. It's all kind of a search fest. So if you are intending to sleight of hand that shit, you're going to need to make a check. Otherwise, you can. It's your choice how upfront you want to be about that discovery or not.
Critter, I think you meant to say it's a search party.
What did he say?
What did I say? A search fest. It's a bit of a searchage fest. Yeah.
Hey!
So these diamonds look pretty. They'll like just kind of like. I just want to like slowly look at Oliver.
Oliver kind of like almost curls a smile. He's like, "So Balan's stashing the good stuff for himself." Smart man.
We can't hear you anymore again.
If that. Oh no. You can still hear me, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But at this discovery, Oliver is essentially fully on board with your explanation of the events, and is convinced, like, you guys just found stashes of gold in his abode that his ledger cannot and will not account for, even with his altering of the bookkeeping, couldn't account for this amount of gold. So he was probably, laundering some money through the ledger, but there was other stuff that he was just stockpiling in some way, and maybe couldn't launder it fast enough, if you will. So the glass guard essentially have Balan in. They're holding him in contempt. They're holding him at one of the guards' house for the night. Oliver will approach. Well, Gallus will actually talk to you guys as they're all continuing to search and discussing amongst the guard and stuff. Gallus will say, "Well, I think our journey to Ostennis just became a little more important. Just requesting defense for Force Hollow. We got to get to the capital and warn General Elise of the Glass Guard. I think on our horseback, we'll likely get there faster than any of these soldiers in Cardigan could."
I'm exhausted. I don't know about you 3.
Of course. I saw some of the guards escorting miners back to their houses now that the surrounding area of the cave seems clear. So I think we're going to be all right and find a spot to sleep. Let's spend the night. You guys really risked your lives down there to help out, which I appreciate. And we saved a man. We should be proud of that. But let's go to sleep. And then Oliver will approach you and continue to say that, "Yep, looks like there's thousands of gold coins in his place from whatever dealings he was not able to cover up, and maybe some that he did. But we will send a raven to the capital at once to give report and gather direction on how to move forward with the contraband. But our guards have confirmed that the mine seems stable and safe for now. As cold-hearted as it seems, the miners can go back to work as soon as they want to or are able to. And you have prevented massive delays of product transport. I need to stay here in town to help the townsfolk take care of the aftermath and restabilize the mines. But you all deserve compensation as thanks for your service. And he gives you one of a small leather satchel that contains 100 gold for the party. Additionally, outside of our short report by Raven, if you are all continuing on to Ostennis, I would request that you deliver this writ to General Elise at the Glass Guard Barracks in the northeastern portion of the city. She will be expecting you and will likely ask you to give a full report of the situation as well, since my letter can only do so much. I imagine she will also be able to help you acquire lodging in the city, should that be of interest to you.
Did he say
As for
northwest
tonight,
or northeast?
The northeastern portion of the city. As for tonight, we are already escorting the workers back into their homes, and I've spoken with the owner of the Centerstone Inn, and you will be able to rest there for the night, free of charge. We will not forget your aid today, and I am thankful to have met you. Please let me know if there's anything else I can assist you with, and I do hope you will stop by Cardigan Post in the future if you ever need somewhere to stay. You are friends of the city.
Happy to be of help.
I feel like our finder's fee should be more than 5%.
I do a little like, oh,
I'm gonna do a quick roll at that because he may give some information. He overhears you say that and is like, you hand that writ to General Elise, she'll get you taken care of.
Okay.
Thanks, Al.
I assure you. Anyway, please, it looks like sun has gone down and you've really done more than your fair share of given us more than your fair share of aid today. So thank you. Please continue to the Centerstone at your leisure and feel free to rest up for the night.
I want to start bundling up the plate mail and be like, yeah, I was just going to scrape off the Drasteen insignia and get this painted so I could use it. Is that a problem?
Our guards informed us of the situation that you told us about down in the ravine that seems to have been part of the seismic activity. We've got more than enough evidence there. We will see what the Capitol has to say about how to deal with that. You have frankly earned my trust enough to keep that plate armor, though I suggest you not wear it unless in a pinch for fear of others mistaking your identity as someone not from our nation. I would urge you to have it modified if you make your way to the Capitol. It looks to be about your build. You may be able to make use of that, but looks like that specific set of armor comes with a bit of baggage.
Black and red is on my colors anyway, so no fear.
All right. Very well. Don't abuse that.
Thank you for hearing us out, Oliver. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Oliver. And Gallus will shake Oliver's hand and start conversating with him a little bit. Otherwise, you guys can feel free to gather lodging at the Centerstone Inn and bed down for the night.
I almost wish we hadn't done that precautionary, and we should have, but short rest, because it would have been a little more, convincing if we were all bloodied up and just like.
Well, you guys still
escaping.
are bloody. Like a short rest doesn't erase your healing wounds, the blood on your armor,
right.
Bits and pieces of that. So you guys are still probably looking a little rough, shy of any cleansing stone or otherwise, or mending, etc. But it's clear you guys have been in a scrap, so that definitely probably led to your or gave you some advantage as well. But
on a side note, do we just want to make a general rule of thumb as a group that whenever we get gold, we won't add it to our session until end of session, or inventory till end of session, just so we don't get off the same page?
Yes, I like that.
Because if I went and I added it in right now, I might forget I had done it.
Because there's the 100 gold and then there's the 2 diamonds. So let's just, yeah.
Well, there was also 6 other diamonds that you found down
I
in
thought
the
it was.
post that were.
I thought it was 4 others. That this now makes 6.
Oh, it may have been 4 others. It may have been 4. You're probably right. I think it was
6 gems.
It was
6 gems.
Yes. Well, I thought it was
ruby, topaz, 4 diamonds.
In the thing.
So now we have 8.
Yes, it's 4 diamonds.
Jesus.
One orange topaz, 1 ruby, and now 2 more diamonds that you found. So
okay.
six diamonds. So yes, you have 8 gems worth 50 gold each.
We are
I
rolling.
have all the gems in my personal inventory.
Okay, cool.
And then you obviously have the decanter, the Vraeval's Soothing Tea, the Book of Clothier Crockway that Oliver allowed you all to keep. He's keeping the ledger, but he allowed you to keep the journal, the Book of Clothier Crockway, and the damning letter as well, because he wanted that to be given to alongside his writ to General Elise at the capital.
Rillette, are there any uses for diamonds and other gems other than just money?
I will chime in and say, absolutely, they're incredible divine focuses.
I know that my daddy used, it was always like smaller diamonds and gems, but some of the more advanced inventions he had did use smaller gems. It was a weird, like one-time use thing, but yeah, definitely. I'd say, but don't go selling them right away. I think we're not too hard up for money at this point, but yeah, I think there's at least 1 or 2 ways we can use those gems.
Okay, we should probably hold on to them then.
And then we...
Yeah, so as you approach the Centerstone Inn, very simple building that you guys kind of saw some of the miners occupying previously. It has been cleared out. There's a couple rooms. There are Quimby, the halfling woman innkeeper, will tell you that she's cleared and cleaned 3 rooms down the hall. That was all she could manage for the day. So she apologizes, but looks like some of you may have to bunk together for the night.
Jiri, want to be bunk buds?
Sure. I'm afraid of the dark, so it'll be nice to be with you.
I feel very comfortable in the dark.
How about you, Telperion? We can bunk and give Rillette her own room.
Oh, I forgot about Gallus.
Oh, fair.
I was going to be like, I'll take the second room, fellas. Don't worry.
That sounds fair.
Okay, so Telperion and Gallus, Jiri and Tobirama, and then Rillette's got her own room. But you are all able to rest. Anything you guys want to do before you try and go to sleep for the night?
I just want to press that button on D&D Beyond.
Oh, this is not your level up quite yet.
No, the long rest. I want to press long rest.
Oh, sure.
Critter, quick
Go
question. While we were down in the crevice, I know we saw like what was likely the Underdark entrance. Did we at any point see what was clearly like the under the river to the north Durastian entrance?
Would they have been separate things?
Was there like a sign that said like "Welcome to Durast"?
It was unclear, even based on you guys' thorough understanding of the situation, relatively thorough. It was not clear whether that was Underdark Tunnel and River Tunnel may have been somewhere else. They might have been the same thing. Portions of it could have collapsed in the River Tunnel that led to the Underdark. It's a little more. It's too messy to determine if that was exact specific functions of what makes
sense to us though is that he was trying to do this thing for Durast and unfortunately uncovered the Underdark
that caused seismic activity that led to the release of beasts. Yes.
Christopher, one thing I'd like to do before bed, and I'm fully open to a roll for this because I'm not a miner. I want to like try and draw up some theoretical notes to hand to Oliver to be like, when you find this tunnel underneath the river, here's a safe architectural engineering way to collapse it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, for most of the communication of that letter, no role necessary. For specific engineering knowledge, do make unless you can compellingly argue something else, make a history check.
Oh, I was just going to say intelligence as like just base, which is the same number.
Same number. Yeah, sure. Just do a basic. Yeah, that's what I should remember. Just do a base check. Sometimes I only think of skills. Yeah, you're able to successfully tell him like, hey, don't blow this part up, but you could safely collapse this part in general terms that potentially people in the city more familiar with the true mining features may be able to use that with their help. And
I'll hand it off to him in the morning at some point.
I am just now curious. Forest Hollow, I think you said was some 80 odd inhabitants. This is
great question.
It's called Cardigan's Post, so it's not a full-blown city. What is it? More than Forest Hollow? Less than?
very similar population count. Seems a bigger city, but smaller, denser cluster of buildings.
Oh, I was thinking opposite.
So
Good
really, the
clarification.
buildings are all densely populated around the outer wall, making way for the mine to kind of occupy the back half of the town, if you will.
Gotcha.
Very similar population, but very different layout of town.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, gotcha. That's all I had.
And as far as mines go, it's fairly unique in that it butts up to a cliff face of a river valley. Like usually that might not be a structurally sound way to do things, but it's specifically carefully mined for the Patara ash from the trees that grow out of the cliff, the valleys, the veritite and mirror sand, which is just like as the Mirror River continues to erode portions of that landscape, they're able to refine that specific type of sand in a unique way.
Noted.
But you are all able to get down to sleep for the night. Blah, blah, blah. As you guys go to sleep.
Uh-huh. Here we go.
Can I hit the long rest button?
Cheery.
It didn't do anything for me.
I'm not pressing anything yet. I just want to hear.
Jiri. Nothing of notice. Roulette.
Shit.
You sleep soundly.
No puking?
Telperion.
Me.
You find difficulty entering your trance tonight. Your mind seems restless and your head is throbbing a bit with a dull pain. It takes you at least an hour to calm your mind and your body to successfully enter your trance, which you've never experienced that before, but you had increased difficulty getting to that meditative state of mind tonight. But otherwise, you are able to enter it and achieve a long rest. Toby Rama.
Oh, jeez.
As you drift off into sleep at the Centerstone Inn, and the darkness of your mind takes over, familiar, ever-present silver mists occupy your peripheral vision. They flow gently, swirling together and coalescing into a wall of silver shifting air in front of you, filling your entire vision with bright silver. Suddenly, the mists part, and they give way to a calm light of an evening sunset ahead of you in the west. Looking down, you seem to be carried forward by buoyant silver streams of mist. Looking up once more, you're suddenly in this enormous, unfamiliar city, still being carried forward through alleys and thoroughfares. You pass through an ornate wrought iron gate of a cemetery entrance, and you see a vibrant green and well-groomed grass of an expansive graveyard ahead of you, larger than any you've seen before, on a cliffside that overlooks the ocean to the west. The mists continue to carry you forward, drifting through and between the different tombstones, flowing along and meeting at different points, almost like branches of a river that meet and converge into larger flows. Eventually, all these channels of mist coalesce, converging and wrapping around a single onyx tombstone, dark, jet black, that sits alone under a small yew tree at the furthest edge of the graveyard. As you drift closer, you notice a simple wax candle sitting atop the onyx tombstone. As you look closer, a spark of black flame alights on the candle and immediately emanates a darkness aura all around you as you fall back into a peaceful, dark sleep. And you are all able to complete your long rest.
Holy shit.
And you wake up on the morning of Middas, the 27th of Hearthfire.
Eight. Onyx.
Wait, what day is it?
Midgar.
Middas. That's
Middas.
that's the plane in Norse mythology.
Shut
You
up, I
fool.
know.
MID.
Middas. It's Wednesday, essentially. Middas, 27th of Hearthfire. September 27th.
Converging.
Without needing to RP through everything, Oliver will see you guys out in the morning. We'll gather your horses and from where they had been boarded,
Easy.
and will allow you guys to set out. Thanks you profusely for your help. Emphasizes the importance of giving that writ to General Elise in the capital. and otherwise seems very thankful, and that Balan has been, subdued and locked up, essentially.
I cleared my chat log. What did I name my horse? It was like
I'm
Akan.
It was like Arvandor or something.
It had an A, but it wasn't Arkan.
I wrote all the names down. It's Arukan.
Arukan. That's it.
And then I was Solaron or Kilaron. And then there was Moby2. And then there was Daisy.
Mobitu.
And then Daisy.
He controls the camera in Super Mario 64.
But as you guys are able to
Give us the
make your
Give
way
us
out
that.
of town,
Yeah.
You feel good. You just helped out of town. You got a free long rest out of the ordeal. Not a dangerous road overnight, but a very dangerous mining encounter. And let's have Jiri give me a D100 roll as you guys continue your route westward.
2. Give me the 2.
35. Oh yeah, that's funny that you said 2. You pass a merchant hauling a cart and a donkey on foot that is on his way to Cardigan Post. This is soon after your journey ends, with logs of lumber. He is just a simple lumber merchant providing from the capital additional lumber to the city of Cardigan Post.
How much for your donkey?
I couldn't get to where I need to go without him. I can't carry all this wood. So priceless.
We'll have to get one later.
Yes, they're very useful. Have a good day.
You scared him.
And continues on. But that is the first encounter. Let's have Jiri give me one more encounter.
Yes.
Crit. Was the writ for the captain of
For
the class?
General Alice.
The General Elise, who is the commander, he'll tell you, is the commander of the Creation Army and all of the Glass Guard.
She's at the Glass Guard barracks.
Yes.
In the northeast of Ostennis.
Straight up 60.
Right up
6.
6.
Correct.
Yes.
No, yeah.
Yeah, he's wait. Yeah.
Yeah, 6.
Yeah.
I always am just like, wait, is it this or is it that? 6.
Oh,
It also says in the chat.
Yeah.
You guys are encountering nothing of note on your journey, and it seems like a pleasant day, and all of a sudden a large shadow passes overhead. Looking up, would everyone like to make a perception check or history check? Your choice to see what it is.
History for me.
No. Perception is lower, but that's all.
Fucking Christ. 9. 9 perception. Or no, 9 history.
We're kind of paying attention.
You are all very paying attention, and you all capture its features. You very clearly see what this thing is, though not immediately available, like what the creature is. It has the arms and legs of a lion, the head of an avian creature with great wings that spread out wide.
Oh, I hate that we don't know that it's a griffin or a hippogriff.
Hippogriffs would be more equine features on the hooves.
I hate that we don't know that.
Yes, but it is a griffin-like creature that flies over your head.
Oh, majestic.
And
I reached out
notice
telekinetically to try to snag a feather.
it is hundreds of feet above you.
Yeah.
So
But
60 feet. Okay.
But noticeably, you guys didn't roll particularly high on history necessarily, but it didn't circle ahead, like over your head, so that's good. It just continued on.
It's not stalking us.
Then let's have let's keep this with Jiri's day.
Oh.
Jiri, give me one more D100 roll.
I was gonna say it's like seeing Huh-Oh probably, right? We get to
Yeah.
live as kids forever.
Episode 1.
Episode 1, right?
Yep.
54.
Bro, you rolled a 6 on a D100. That's crazy.
That is crazy. You encounter a caravan of 5 wagons riding along the Eventide Road, and nondescript seem to be humans manning the carts. And as they pass you, looking behind you, I would like to everyone to, you see an individual sitting like kind of camped out on the back, like bumper, shall we say, of one of the carts that was not immediately visible as they were oncoming. But if everyone would give me a perception check to see what they noticed about this individual.
Dad?
19.
24.
Dang.
You all notice features. I'm going to give Toby Rama a little bit extra because of his very high roll. A very well-groomed individual sitting on the back ledge of the caravan. The man's wearing a beautiful green traveling cloak and a wide-brimmed straw circular hat. Seems to have kind of wavy black hair that goes kind of curls around his neckline a little bit. Well-groomed goatee. He looks at you all, gives you a wink and a nod, and continues on. Toby Rama, as you were looking at that individual, you noticed a glittering ruby ring on his finger and a necklace of a platinum rectangular object. And that's all that is. Just a seemingly
Steve,
a man, some kind of man of means that has some interesting things on him, but he winks and nods at you guys' pass and he continues on. And that is that day. I do anticipate outside of long rest things or perception checks during watches, you guys are able to find a patch of woods off your road as evening sets in. And Gallus will inform you that you guys have made really good pace so far, and he expects to get to the capital tomorrow evening. So one more day of travel, essentially, but you guys can take a long rest in the woods over this night. You're free to talk about anything you want to, or we can get into the long rest.
Toby.
Telpiran, are you happy to take the latter end of watch if we cover the first half?
Mm-hmm. Certainly.
Yeah, Jerry, yeah, what's up?
Toby, I have a gift for you. And I take out my my raccoon hat that I said was a chef's hat the other day. And I say, Toby, I realize now I could never be a chef. There's no way I could make a better meal than I made the other night. I must retire as the best chef ever with one meal made. I pass this on to you. You can cook tonight and pass it along as well, or you can keep it forever.
I will humbly accept it and I'll say, I did hear that it's always good to end on a win.
Exactly.
I will. I'll spend 10 minutes and do alarm around whatever campsite we're doing.
And
additionally, we rushed past this, but Roulette, if you wanted to prepare the identify spell for that day and ritualistically examine some of those items you got, you can feel free to do so. We've already added them to, I think, people's respective inventories, and you guys can dole them out as you wish. You do get that communication stone as one half of a paired group of sending stones. You just don't know where the other one is.
And then, as I'm now,
you could use it. It is usable and functional. It still contains its magic.
As I'm now in charge of dinner, I will get a motley, semblance of dinner together, and then I'll just ritually cast purify food and drink, and then serve it to everyone.
Before he finishes dinner, I want to do a circle around the camp and look for any toxic plants or tasty herbs.
Sure. Make a really, this is kind of an herbalism kit check. So make a intelligence-based check with your proficiency, essentially, to suss out herbs, to identify herbs in your surrounding area.
5 + 4 is 9.
There is not anything of note near you. Some different shrubbery and brush, but nothing salvageable as far as like plant or poison.
Cool.
Critter, you didn't add the book to my because I don't see it in my inventory.
I think I added that to Jiri's list, actually. I think it's in Jiri's inventory. So you guys can choose to remove that. Jiri, you can remove that from your I don't even know if it is in Jiri's thing. It's in someone's thing.
I thought it was mine, but I don't see it.
No, I don't have it.
You guys want to know what the tea does that I'm holding on to?
I think we got a bit of it, but it has like 4 servings, right?
Yeah, it has 4 servings. Small metal canister contains 4 bags of magical tea. I can steep the bags. I'm just claiming it. Steep the bags of tea for 1 minute in a cup of boiling water to make a rich, flavorful tea that calms the nerves. And the drinker gains 1d6 plus 2 HP and gains the same amount as 10 HP hit points.
Oh.
In addition, any effect causing you to be charmed or frightened is suppressed for 1 hour.
Magical tea. Roulette, it does look like the Book of Clothier's Croquis is in your inventory.
I just added it.
Oh, shit. There you go. Hell yeah. Very cool. And yeah, so exactly according to, I think, Jiri's suspicion and maybe many of your suspicions, that book has drawn on it the detailed guise of a miner's outfit on the first page, and then there are 13 other wireframe humanoid figures that can be drawn on top of. And the thing says it on here, but if you spend 10 minutes drawing an outfit on that, you can charge the page with magic and create an outfit out of that piece.
So it's not a disguised self, it's you're making clothes. Okay.
Correct.
And can we
you may have
use
to
the miner's outfit as much as we want?
It is a consumable page. As soon as you detail that drawing, you rip it out. It is charged with magic. You essentially throw it up in the air as an action and you create that thing out of that page. Or you can transform armor into different looking apparel, but you got to read the fine print on that because there's some things that are
I'll cover the fine print later, but it's essentially I'll explain that it's a really good disguise kit.
Yes.
You draw whatever you want to look like on a page, you tear out that page, you activate that page, you look like what's on the page.
And Jiri, you with Roulette's help, you can determine that the decanter of endless water is truly, it's endless, but it's not just like sloshing around there and you just pour it out indefinitely. You have to use an action, I think, to produce the words stream or fountain or geyser, which have different effects and amounts of water. So you're able to determine what those abilities are.
Jiri is thoroughly testing it to see if it actually is endless.
Yep, it absolutely is.
By drinking.
After a long day of being on the horses and after dinner, I'm going to do my sword forms. Do some martial stuff.
Okay.
I will say my nightly prayers and I will lie down for bed. Or I'll do the first watch, but after that.
Okay.
That's when I'll be doing my prayers.
Okay. So Toby Rama is praying your light activity during your watch. Make a perception check for the first 2 hours.
Always.
And Telperion, make an intelligence check for me.
Okay. 19 plus 2. 21.
Michael Kennedy, you nothing of note. Successful watch, and Michael Jacoby, Telperion, my apologies. You're completing your forms and you experience a headache during your forms that is not usual, but you're able to suppress it. Then during your time bedding down for the night, you again have a little bit of difficulty entering your trance, but again, you competently suppress your mind and are able to, with essentially virtually no delay, enter your trance.
And then I say, God, I'm so fucking smart. And then I fall into my trance.
And then as I end, I'll shake Gallus awake and say,
okay,
let Telperion know once you're ready to bed down.
Sounds good. Thanks, Toby. And Gallus will take the next watch.
Jiri, you have the decanter of endless water in your being, right?
Mm-hmm.
We'll say I have identified that as well. So you know officially what it does.
Gallus will rouse Telperion, or I'm sorry, who did you suggest, Toby?
Telperion.
Yes, okay. So as soon as Telperion's 4 hours of trancing time are complete and you guys' watches are past, Gallus will shake you awake, Telperion, and say, sorry, I got kind of dozy. I got to call it a night. Nothing of note, though, so you're free to watch. But you can make a perception check, Telperion, for the final leg of the watch for all 4 hours.
Roll a lot. You did not. TPK.
You hear some strange noises overnight that are unnerving. Just creatures that maybe almost in fear that a Quagoth could appear out of nowhere and scare you guys again. You're just like, you're in the wilderness, so there's noises, but they stay a little bit away from your campfire and leave you alone. And you guys are able to then.
Since I have 2 new spears, I'm gonna be while on watch playing, like we're practicing my spear forms because it's been a while.
Okay, you're absolutely able to do so. Toby Rama, noticeably overnight when you sleep, you have the same exact dream. Roulette and Jiri sleep peacefully.
You puked it all out.
Yeah. Curse is gone.
But yeah, Toby Rama, you experience the same mists, them parting, feeling carried through this river of mist, through an unfamiliar city and toward a graveyard and that onyx tombstone that sits at the edge of the yard.
Gotcha.
Do I notice if Jerry's cold again?
You can make a perception check. I'm going to say with your 9 that you already rolled. Okay, what was it?
Duty, though. I rolled a
Sure.
17 for that.
Jiri is noticeably not shivering tonight. Peacefully sleeping.
Okay.
Then you all awake safely and after completing another long rest on your begin your 4th day of travel on Turdos, the 28th of Hearthfire.
Turd.
Yes, I know.
Approaching Ostend.
But different from Tuesday's Tierdos, this is Thursday's Turdos.
Is it UR? Is it ER? Is it IR?
You are.
Turd.
It is turd. It's turd AS. Yes.
Turd ass.
Let's not be immature.
It says the 174-year-old. Of course we're immature.
You're young for an elf.
So can I have Telperion for this day of travel? Can I have Telperion, Roulette, and Toby Rama all make a D100 roll?
Yes.
One at a time. Someone go.
I
first.
call last. I call last.
I call first.
Really quickly, I would have asked
Yeah, absolutely.
Talperion about, like, did he see anything in the night?
Well, I heard,
Referring back to our previous conversation.
Because the last time you were awake, you saw the bottle.
Oh no! Oh no! No one came in the camp last night. That's what.
Okay, so no Moby showed up. Strange. I guess that bottle must have been dropped off by him, and then he ran away. So sad.
Moby must be.
I really
fast.
need you to understand this. Moby is gone. He's not here, and that was magic that made it drop by you. Do you believe it?
I believe you, but I don't understand the magic then.
I don't either, but I just don't think Moby's following us in any regard.
That we know of yet. Okay, let's keep going. Maybe he'll show up later.
28.
28. Another bard. You've encountered a bard before on your journey. Another bard stops by, half-elven gentleman, slicked back black hair, and very ornate robes, playing a flute as you guys pass. Would you all care to hear a song?
Yes.
All right, then.
He will go in.
He will go into a series of measures of playing the flute, and then we'll take a breath and start singing a song. And it's a bit of a back and forth between this haunting melody of flute playing and this terribly dark story. And then he passes. And an hour later, you all lose 1d8 hit points.
Damn it.
What the?
Do you control that?
I will roll it.
Yeah.
You all lose 4 hit points.
What the fuck?
Of psychic damage as your head is racked with pain for seemingly no reason.
Wait, what?
We lose 4 hit points.
Wait, we lost 4 hit points? I thought you
Yeah.
said we lost our temp hit points.
No.
We had
What
no
temp
hit.
hit
We
points
had
do you
no
have?
temp.
Yeah,
we had
you
no
have no
temp.
temp hit points.
I just assumed the bard gave us temp HP, and like that's how I heard that statement of yours.
Nope. That previous bard you guys encountered bolstered you guys for the day. This one was seemingly nefarious and eager to tell you this grim, dark tale that an hour later just filled your head with chattering and noise and pain. So
That's
a little bit of hit points.
Motherfucker.
Jiri tried to tell him an even darker tale.
Okay. He appreciated it. He was very entertained. Next person, Roulette.
Isn't it a short rest while we hang out?
Never.
Yeah, I mean,
Never.
you've got a long day ahead. So, like, yeah, you can absolutely take 30 minutes to park your horses and take a beat for the day.
Not short rest while we ride. Never mind.
13.
A Tarask shows up.
Roulette, as you're surveying the landscape and looking around far in the distance and stuff, you miss a small rock jutting out from the terrain that you just trip over and you damage your knee and you take 1d4 bludgeoning damage.
Oh no.
What?
Roulette trips.
You take 1 point if you just hurt your knee a little bit.
Solid toe stub.
Yes.
Notes.
Yeah.
Roulette trips. The
If you had-
self-acclaimed mountain climber.
If you
This
had
is not a
fluffy
mountain.
clothes, this wouldn't have happened.
It's these grasslands, man. They'll get you.
Okay, here we go.
All right, Toby.
That is a 5, and on my dens, 35.
Do we have that one already? We had 35 already. Roll again.
Oh, okay.
That was the lumber cart.
Can I have your mule?
What?
I
81.
was gonna pay him.
81.
Give me your pony.
Give me your
81.
pony.
Give me your donkey. 81.
A strong storm picks up and absolutely drenches you guys, delaying your journey 1d4 hours. Delaying your journey 3 hours. So, keeping that in mind, let's see what your any one person can make a survival check with advantage per Gallus's help. Okay, Toby Rama, to see if your pace was good for the day and can offset this issue, or if this really is going to delay you. You guys were well ahead of your pace for the day.
Shit.
The storm picks up very, very rapidly and violently, is very heavy windfall and rain for about an hour, clears out, and you encounter relatively simple, pleasant weather the rest of the day, although your travel is now damp and your clothes are soaked.
Bro, what the fuck? 19 and 20? That's insane.
Just to flavor that a little bit, Jiri would have refused to go anywhere if there was like a storm going on. So like he was probably a big part of why you guys were delayed so long. Is that he was like hiding underneath.
Would you? Yeah. Would you? I guess I'm not going to ask you. Would you tell anyone why that's the case? But does anyone have? Hey, Jiri, why are you so scared of storms?
We're so close, Jerry. Come on. It's just a couple more hours.
I will. So from Roulette has been thinking about this, and Roulette's gonna just, with the amount of water that Jerry has been drinking, and I mostly wanted to be, because I'm interested in this flask because I do want to test something out, and I want to retroactively test this really quick. Critter, really quick question: the decanter of endless water. If I look it up in D&D Beyond, is that the exact one?
Yes.
Okay. We don't have to roleplay this. At some point, I want to borrow it from Jiri. I'm going to hold it off the side of my horse. I'm going to have a rock, and I'm going to whisper into the rock using my megaphone, saying the word stream. And I'm going to hold that in front of the open flask. And I want to see what happens.
Okay, let me pull something up real quick. No, not that interface.
What an experiment.
That's
I don't think it's going to work.
Okay, so decanter of endless water. You say stream, and you're holding the stone in front of it to record the sound of a stream of water.
To record me saying the word stream.
Oh. It can absolutely record you saying the word stream. What are you trying to...
I'm trying to see if the rock that I'm holding that's saying my word stream out loud can activate the open flask.
Wild. Okay.
He's pondering.
Feel free to consider that.
Make a general Arcana check.
You guys lost your audio again.
Did they really? I didn't even know they did that.
Their voice cut off at the end.
It's a very easy fix. I just have to unplug it. I think it might be because I'm not using the laptop that is using the mic.
That makes sense.
That is very likely, yeah. 12 is above a 10. I'm going to say you record your voice saying stream. Remind me of your magical tinkering. Do you tap the stone to activate that effect, or is it on a delay of some kind?
Yeah,
I feel like I remember it being
activate?
you tap it, I think, and it says the word.
Like that's different than how we played with like it in the cornfield.
It is different than
Oh no! So it's two different things. It's two different things. Never
it's
mind.
two different things. It's a looped sound or an activation.
The verbal, the recorded message, you have to tap it. If it's a non-verbal, then it repeats. Okay.
Yes.
Never mind the past 2 minutes.
So she taps so that it says the word.
No, but if you say the word stream and you record your voice saying stream and you tap it, a gallon of water flows from the decanter.
Roulette's like nerding out still that it's happening. During the storm, is Jiri running away from the rain or jumping into the rain with his mouth open?
No, I'm hiding. You can see he's looking up specifically and being like,
Oh yeah, there's no way. We gotta hide, guys.
Jared, we're so close.
I'll telekinesis my silver cloak over Jerry so he doesn't get so wet, if that's what he's afraid of.
No, it's not the water. It's the clouds, guys. I'm telling you, my brother's after me. It could be him.
Jakar is nowhere near here, I promise you.
This way he will be able to see you under the cloak.
He's in the material plane. He's after me. We gotta hide me.
Ooh, you know the perfect place to hide? In a sea of people. Where how could he ever pick you out of a crowd when there's thousands and thousands of people there? We gotta book it to Austenus.
I'll probably be the only blue one, so it might be really easy.
We'll keep that cloak over you though.
Okay, I like the idea of a disguise.
And we continue.
Right now, you just get my favorite new silver cloak as this guy.
As an umbrella.
Yes, and it gets absolutely soaked over the hour that the storm continues, and so you're all very drenched. But it's probably early afternoon by the time the storm calms down, and so you continue for a number more hours into the evening, and you dry out a little bit. The horses aren't too put out by it, and you guys start to dry a little bit. But as we get to the evening, and the colors of the late afternoon sky start to shift to a mixture of more orange and pink and magenta hues, you round a corner of a road past a small rocky crag, and immediately the view of the capital in the distance becomes visible. Perhaps 5 or so miles ahead on the grassy landscape, you see a massive city positioned at the top of a gentle rise in terrain and an endless expanse of ocean westward past the city. I would like everyone to make a perception check.
There was just a moment where all, like, Michael, Tim, and Michael all had their eyes closed.
Oh, I was visualizing that shit. Yeah. Hell yeah.
20.
I love it.
20.
2 20s. And 21 for the win.
You goddamn bitch.
You goddamn bitch.
oh.
You goddamn
So from the distance, it is with such a beautiful sunset starting ahead of you. It's hard to make out any details within the city specifically, other than some spires and towers toward the very center of the city. But you can clearly see a number of different roads. You're on the Eventide Road that butts up right against the east side of this capital up ahead. There are a number of other roads that lead up to various front gates of this enormous wall around the city. And as you draw closer over the next half hour or so, you notice that there are numerous carts and caravans of merchants and travelers dotting the landscape ahead of you. And even in the evening, the multiple roads leading up to these front gates are experiencing fairly heavy traffic. As you get closer and near the main front gate, the Eventide Road leads directly to. You see the now familiar sight of bright amber and gold trimmed armor of Glassguard soldiers greeting travelers, ushering them inside, examining their wares and carts, and welcoming them to the city.
I assume this is the case, but I'll make sure that Gallus is kind of preceding us in the front and,
Gallus
following his lead.
And especially not encumbered by carts and caravans like many of these others are. You're absolutely able to actually, it's not a line by any means. It's kind of like a flock of people that kind of at their leisure get up in front of people. People have pulled off to the side to organize things and stuff. So you guys are able to kind of slip through the crowd of oncoming traffic or city approaching traffic. And you're able to get to toward the front gate. Yes, Telperion.
I know that I made a point about us not adding gold to our inventory, but we're about to go into a city, so maybe it'd be cool to know.
We're going to approach a small break in a second, and we can do things there.
Cool. You fool.
Gallus approaches the front one of the glass guards at the Eventide gate. Explains your situation, that you're here to seek an audience with the government, and shows the writ that you have Aliver's permission to go approach General Elise at the Glass Guard barracks. And he takes it, looks over it thoroughly, but ushers you in with no issue. You are able to get inside the city of Ostennis. Just inside this exterior wall, a network of well-worn but cared for dirt roads weave from many of the front gates forward into the city and net in and out through a very clearly more residential portion of the city on the outskirts. Thousands of households. And I'm actually going to...
Yes!
I am the worst, first of all. This should have been the view from the...
That's
from
amazing.
The front
That's
gate.
amazing. That's amazing.
That should have been the view of the front gate. Ignore the dragon flying in the background, but it is this beautiful city with the sun setting westward back behind the city.
Right.
Still plenty of daylight right now. It's not true sunset, twilight, dusk hours, but the sun is really setting, and you've arrived with some daylight.
Yeah, I was wondering.
Past the city. From a distance, you were up high enough on an elevation where you could see the ocean expanding all the way behind the city, but you are looking at this screenshot, you are facing due west, and the ocean is just behind the city.
And there's that level of elevation as well, and that structure in the back there.
Yes, roughly, yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not, spire for spire, tower for tower, but roughly, yes. The royal district in the center of town rises significantly, and it is a roughly circumcentric style town where there's residential on the outskirts, commercial on the slightly inner portion, and then the royal district in the center. But just inside this exterior wall, this more residential portion, all these households, thousands of households take up your immediate view. And looking further ahead, you see another shorter barricade wall separating the residential district from the commercial district. You're able to proceed inside that, and this is where you start to really see the highlights of the city. There's very varied race in this population, even more so than the generally hospitable town of Forest Hollow, and certainly grander in scale. There's roughly 38,000 people that occupy the city. Various elves, half-elves, humans, the horned heads of tieflings, full-blooded orcs, half-orcs. Every once in a while, you catch the sight of cat-like humanoids, a minotaur, a man with the head of a blue dragon, halflings, gnomes, and all matter of races. Compared with the smaller population of Forest Hollow or the more homogenous populations of typically Durast and Belladonian places, this place is a thriving, bustling melting pot of different race and culture. There's a constant buzzing energy everywhere as you pass people doing business in shop fronts and stuff. Just this general atmosphere of excitement and life. Gallus will just kind of smiling and keeping a glance at you guys, seeing your awe potentially at the city, is just continuing to kind of make sure you guys don't get lost. He's still leading your horses through the commercial district, and it starts heading, seemingly familiar with this, the navigation of the city is heading you in a north. You approach from the east, and now you've turned north to go to the northeastern portion of the city in the commercial district.
Oh, so pretty hard north then.
Roughly, yeah. You continue a little bit past some residential areas, but once you're in the commercial district, and let's actually go to a town view now that I
were we heading east? You said, or I thought we were
heading west from the east.
You've been heading west. Okay. So if you zoom out a little bit, these are the twin cities of Ostennis in the south, one of the very northern tip parts of Croatia. And across the Great Mirror Bridge, or the Bridge of Mira, rather, there is a twin city of Septelis, the southernmost portion of Durast. And this is all bisected by the ocean to the west as an inlet, as the riverfront that continues to the east of the Mira River that flows through the whole continent.
Is Septelis the capital of Durast?
It is not.
So Septelis is...
Septelis is part of Durast up in the north.
To the north.
You are arriving via this red navigation arrow. You have been traveling westward along the Mira River essentially for the past 2 days now since leaving Cardigan Post. And you are arriving at the front gate. You've made it past this residential district portion. And now you're heading northward to essentially this area of the city here in gold. This is roughly where Gallus is heading you to the Glass Guard barracks.
Do I know, has Durast been at war with Croatia very much?
Make a history check, Telperion. Actually, everyone except Jiri, make a history check.
21.
Big +0 coming in.
Toby Rama, in your travels in recent years, you've been very oblivious to political stances and warring conflicts of interest and national interests. Roulette, being from Bellidonia, you sometimes, being at such a crossroad town, you do get travelers from Durast occasionally, travelers from Croatia, and definitely travelers from Bellidonia. You're able to generally keep your finger to the pulse of general vibe is not the right word, but the general stance of how different nations are viewing each other. And there's definitely been friction. Since King Zavar of Durast violently took over the throne of Durast roughly 20 years ago or so, he is a brute of a man. And the nation has taken a feral turn. They're very violent, slipping into fairly xenophobic ways of the past, very human supremacy in Durast. There are orcs and other races absolutely in Durast, and hobgoblins and bugbears and all sorts of races in Durast, but humans have primarily run the throne in Durast for the several past 100 years in varying degrees of kindness or ruthlessness and etc. But it is a very heavily, densely human populated nation. And there has Zavar, Zavar. And there has definitely been, if not war or military friction, definitely unease and hostile negotiations at times, unwillingness to bargain. And Roulette, you know that. Telperion, actually you had a higher DC because of your locale of the Emerin, and they may not be as up to speed with the political going-ons of the nations at large. But you both know that information, that there's unease and there's friction, but nothing as far as outright military conflict. And certainly Ostennis, the city, is more well prepared, fortified, bolstered than the non-capital of Septelis. Septelis is perhaps almost as beautiful, but less varied in population, less fortified and armed with guards and stuff. Maybe even considered a weak point of Durast in terms of, should they ever want to, Ostennis could fucking raid over the Bridge of Mira and go take Septelis for themselves. Fighting and invading from the Bridge of Mira is kind of a chokehold point that might not pan out well for them. But
300.
But Septelis is notably less of a presence than the capital Ostennis of Croatia.
Awesome.
But But Gallus, seemingly familiar with the layout, leads you northward to the Glass Guard barracks to potentially deliver this writ to General Elise. As you guys approach the barracks, it's in the commercial district. The commercial districts of varying shop fronts and stuff are impressive stone structures, but also fairly unassuming, especially with the looming grandeur of the royal district in the center of the town that is visible from every point in the city. So even approaching the Glass Guard barracks, impressively wide territory campus of building structures, but nothing particularly imposing, intimidating, of note. It's certainly providing function rather than form in these barracks. But two half-elf Glass Guard stand out in front of the barracks, and as you guys approach, Gallus hands them the writ from Lieutenant Oliver. The guard disappears inside briefly and comes out with a tall woman, and very tall as in 6'4" or so, and very distinctly more elaborate plate armor than typical Glass Guard. Definitely more so than Oliver even. Adorned with a red scarf and an impressive golden filigree. Her tan skin almost seems human at first glance, but the warm undertone and pointed ears quickly dismiss that thought. Pulled back into a bun is her bright red hair, even brighter than Roulette's, a very saturated vermilion. And within her tattooed face and stoic expression, you notice eyes that look at you carefully, studying your faces, and orange irises that seem to flicker and writhe like flame. Greetings, travelers. I am General Elise, commander of the Creation Army and Dawn of the Queen. Lieutenant Oliver of Cardigan Post reached out yesterday with report by Raven that you would all be arriving, and I have been expecting you. I'm glad to see your journey was not otherwise derailed. His report was thorough, but I believe we can benefit from hearing your story ourselves. Please, come with me. We have a short walk to make.
You say she has red ears?
A warm reddish,
a
warm reddish tan face, bright fucking red hair, and irises that flicker like flame. She has
I said red ears. I meant, did you say she has elvish ears?
Pointed ears. That does not imply elvish. Several races have pointed ears.
Okay. Well, do I think she's an elf?
Absolutely not. No elf you've ever seen before. She seems elemental.
Okay, cool.
You've got really cool eyes.
As do you, friend. A fellow Genasi, I see.
Genasi boner.
Wow. High five.
Sure. But she seems amenable and friendly enough, but is also duty bound to escort you toward the center of the city. She begins to lead you toward the elevated ring of the royal district, where the tall form of Prism Palace sits on the tallest topography of the capital. As you leave the commercial district and enter this royal district, you see there are still a handful of various buildings positioned at this elevated portion of the city, many with impressive stone spires and stained glass windows, but these buildings are nothing more than peripheral note compared to the absolutely stunning view in front of you as you approach the gorgeous palace that rises hundreds of feet into the air and sits like a crown jewel on the hilltop of Ostennis. The white polished stone palace obscures line of sight from the setting sun behind it in the west, and what you experience is this grand image of backlit spires and towers, all reflecting brilliant colors through their stained glass windows against a backdrop of auburn and magenta sky. General Elise escorts you up to the impressive wide stone stairs to an impressive 30-foot high gold-painted ornate entry doors of the Prism Palace. She ushers for Gallus to hand the writ, which he does so to the front guard. He takes it, reads it, hands it back to Gallus, taps his spear twice on the ground, and you hear a murmur from Gallus at your sides. All right, friends, best behavior, please. She has a tendency to make you feel at ease, and I do consider her a true friend, but that doesn't mean we can show Her Majesty any less respect and courtesy. And that's where I'd like to take a break really quick.
Yes, sir. Bro, we made a fucking beeline. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm gonna go get a refill before you guys enter the main front throne hall of Prism Palace.
Wow, this is scary.
Do us PCs, do we want to split up our gold, our resources?
I would say wait till level 3, which we're on the cusp of, because there's going to be additional things that may need to be sorted out as well.
All right.
Here's a quick view of, as you arrive at the prison palace, domes of amber and gold kind of like sit on top of this beautiful. It's less mountainous than this picture is suggesting,
because it's at like the top.
That is the vibe I have for the palace. It is beautiful white polished stone, not marble, but polished stone with domes of amber, and that are just obviously very color palette reflective of what the Glassguard armor wear. Gorgeous stained windows all over the front of the palace, towers and stuff that jut out from the sides, and large spires. But that's the general idea of what this prison palace looks like from the outside, and you're about to see the inside.
Awesome.
So let me go get a coffee real quick.
So what I was saying is, it's not your laptop going.
You think it's the mutant on
It's
mute?
the mutant on
My
mute.
pants.
Okay, well, we're back.
Oh, I want my hands.
I've only got 2 of them. They've already got kids. They can't afford it.
Ooh, I say a lot of people are outraged. Oh, shady. What happens if I turn you off? Looks fine. So at this point, I'm happy to do that. Cool. I want the new but old shady. That's good.
You guys are at the freaking palace. Pretty wild.
I'm so hype.
I would say we are pretty close to right on schedule where I wanted us to be at this time.
I was curious about that because it felt like we were doing some natural but extra RP towards the front end.
which I adored. And also, I planned for some. I didn't plan for that much, but then I did, and to my own fault, we kind of rushed through the next 2 days of travel, but
I have no problem with that whatsoever.
We don't need to we definitely don't need a campfire every single night and that whole thing, but it was really important to me that we do that the very first time you do that. So that was perfect. But yeah, so I hope no one felt like brushed aside that we were sprinting through those two, but you guys are going to get plenty of time to RP and live and exist in the capital, pursue what you want to pursue, etc.
Right.
Oh my god, you guys are so fucking close to level 3. I just want to get there.
Oh, I'm gonna keep talking about it and just lord it over them.
Yeah. Pretty much.
Pretty much. Where is? Oh, there's my mini. I'm holding him right next to the camera, but no one can see.
You can show it at the end of the session, actually.
I thought about
Dude,
that. I thought about
that's
that.
That's fucking lit as shit. Holy fuck. I'm going to ask everyone else to show their mini first, if they have it on hand, and then have you do it last.
Oh, my name is Steve, and I went against Eve, and I went with Adam.
May I have a cup of porridge? Oh.
He's muted, but he was cracking up.
Jiri loves water,
Ow.
but he doesn't like the storms. Noted.
Yeah.
Jadrakar
Very
is
logical reasons.
Jadrakar is fucking out for this dude, or at least Jiri thinks so.
Yep.
I bet that Drakar is sitting pretty because he thinks you're still in that little bottle of air, and he was never ready for what Moby could unleash upon this world.
Exactly. Never realized Moby would let me out. Jiri would probably tell Toby that he thinks, you gotta admit this place is probably cooler than Forest Hollow.
I don't
Shit,
know that
I admit that.
I don't know that I fully agree there, Jiri.
Gallus specifically says, "Oh shit, I admit that. This place is the most beautiful place on the continent. It's even better than Auroras in Belladonia." I've never been to Auroras in Belladonia, but I know this is better. Also, Steven, you're muted if you were saying something.
I was mostly mumbling to myself. I don't think I have not been to Aurora.
You have not been to Auroras, no. But your dad has had dealings with people there. Like, you get people from there along your kind of trade stop. But it's the biggest. Auroras is notably the biggest city in the entire continent. Ostennis is not as big as Auroras, but Gallus seems to believe that Ostennis here is the most beautiful place in the world.
I'm definitely Telpiri is definitely like overwhelmed.
Yep.
Dude, but now, MK, not Toby necessarily. Now MK just wants to see these fucking Emerald cities and how like Lothlorien obviously derived. Like, oh, they're gonna be beautiful.
Her and I literally were talking about him last night.
I'm glad I didn't interrupt that.
So, as the tall and intricately ornate painted gold doors in front of you grind open, pulled from the inside by glass-guard centurions, the view of a luxurious throne room becomes visible ahead. A long hallway, maybe 300 feet in. A dozen high-ranking glass guard line the walls of the throne room on each side in familiar and brilliant amber glass armor. Yes, Toby.
Can I just, as we're kind of crossing the threshold, can I cast Detect Evil and Good? And just be focusing on that.
Sure. Are you muttering an incantation as you're walking in?
It does have a verbal component.
Gallus will hear you start to cast it and just like puts a hand on your chest and just like, easy, friend.
Okay.
Oh, could we really quickly ask, Gallus, this friend of yours, right? Or person that you know, what's a good, like, you said be on our best behavior, but can you be more specific? Like, what's one thing we shouldn't do? Give us the number one thing.
Just address Her Majesty with respect and kindness, and the rest will fall into place. And you guys continue to slowly walk in, escorted by General Elise at your side. A 200-foot long ornate purple carpet lies on the polished stone floor, running the length of the entrance to the throne ahead. Large polished stone pillars dot the sides of the hall as well, supporting a high arched ceiling with amber filigree on the ceiling. Floating lanterns hover at various heights sporadically throughout this tall volume of space, with different colored glass panels on each side of the lanterns. Similarly, stunning stained glass windows are immediately visible in any direction you look. The resulting vista before you is a jaw-dropping kaleidoscope of color being cast throughout the hall, as lantern flame through colored glass and the light of a setting sun filter in through the windows, casting dozens of multicolored rays of light into the space. And even amidst this brilliant atmosphere, nothing draws your attention quite as much as the throne ahead, drawing ever closer as you approach. Clean white marble adorns this throne altar and clearly stands apart from the otherwise polished stone of the hall. A beautiful throne cast from gold is upholstered with a vibrant mauve velvet, and upon this twilight throne of the Prism Palace sits a beautiful middle-aged tiefling woman. Her form is slender and her posture regal, but somehow she seems welcoming and approachable. She wears an impossibly beautiful ombre dress that blends in a gradient of gold to orange to red, violet, and then indigo at the bottom. But the dress makes sure not to hide her very delicate lavender skin. Her dark hair is pulled back and drapes behind jet black horns that curve backward along her head before jutting upward at the back. Her horns are adorned with elaborate gold ornament and filigree, and a third central horn, cast from gold and plated with amber, rises out of her gold crown. You hear a voice next to all of you say, "Queen Elia, thank you for seeing us, and it is good to see you again." The tiefling woman speaks. "Gallus, my old friend, I must admit it pains me to hear my own name accompanied by such formality from your lips. But I suppose that is the nature of things now, isn't it?" She smiles toward Gallus and all of you. She looks over toward General Elise. "Thank you, my Dawn. Feel free to stay if you wish to hear their tale yourself. Gallus and friends, it warms my heart to see you here in Ostennis. It has been too long, friend. And surrounded by faces unfamiliar to me. Please, whom do I have the honor of addressing?" And Gallus kind of looks from side to side, indicating for you guys to introduce yourselves.
I'll do the little like, Your Majesty, my name is Toby Rama. I hail from Force Hollow, as well as our. It seems you know our
Yes,
mentor Gallus here.
of course. It is good to meet you.
It is an honor to make your acquaintance.
She tilts her head to the next one of you.
Who's next in line?
She'll tilt her head to Roulette.
Roulette will take a step forward. Queen Lee, it is Elia was the name.
Elia, yeah, let me put it in chat. and her last name I'm going to put in there too, but is Queen Alaya Durkett.
Queen Elia, Your Majesty, it is quite a pleasure to meet you. My name is Roulette Tinkerton, denizen of a small town called Storm's Edge in Belladonia. Met up with my friends and Master Gallus here in Forest Hollow.
It's great to have you, Roulette. Thank you. Tilts her head toward Jiri.
Jiri. Jiri. Gingenasian, Jarl Jalan. I was told to be on my best behavior. It's nice to meet you.
You as well, Jiri of Jawland. Can't say I'm familiar. Is that not on this continent?
No. Not quite. Very far from here. Distant land.
Far traveler, then. It's great to
Yes.
have you.
I like your city. It's pretty cool.
It's happy to have you, friend. Tilts her head to Telperion.
I'll step forward and do a little bow and say, greetings, Your Majesty. My name is Telperion Loonsong, Prince of the Nimberthil Elves from Moonset Grove in the Emerald Forest.
Ithilwinge, correct? And in perfect, not speaking in Elvish, but perfectly in Elvish, names the Mooncrest, the name Mooncrest in Elvish, seemingly paying you respect of you are of the Mooncrest Elves, yes?
How did she say that?
Ithilwinge.
I have my notebook on me. I can spell it for you in the chat.
Winge. Okay, sorry.
Then I'll say, Der Miriel, and I'll incline my head that she had it correctly.
I'm grateful to have you in our city. We have had cities in Croatia negotiate with those in the Emerald, but I have not ever met any of your culture. Happy to have you in our city. I hope it welcomes you well.
Your city certainly took my breaths away.
I'm glad to hear it. It does mine every day. Anyway, welcome to our beautiful city. We are happy to have you. And I hope while you're here, however long that may be, I hope you're able to take advantage of whatever the city has to offer. I apologize to move to business so immediately, but General Elise received a raven yesterday with some concerning news of your experience at Cardigan Post. I've only briefly been brought up to speed, but would very much like to hear your own first-hand report of the situation. And Gallus will kind of speak up, well, Your Majesty, I actually escorted a young man out of the caves during our adventure, and my friends here were there for the duration of the time. So I missed some of the action there, and I'll let them give you their story.
DM question. Can we just kind of repeat how?
Yes, absolutely.
Similar,
Key points.
Toby gives the setting, and then the details come flooding in.
Okay.
So yeah,
you guys.
The letter, the Durastian armor, those specifically, and the ledger.
I'll do the highlighting of that stuff.
Yeah.
Everyone make an insight check as she hears this information.
I want to.
I was rolling that one.
I want to roll this physically. I don't know why.
Yeah, go for it.
13.
My insight is plus that. 13 for Toby.
Even through her generally warm and welcoming visage she presents, it's impressive how stoically she receives the information and does not indicate any shred of facial cue. She is so, probably because she's risen to queen here in the political structure.
That is so gangster.
She's a diplomat at her core and does not indicate any reaction to any of the information you give, but is attentively listening.
One additional piece, I'll tack it on to the end. It's not limited to just Cardigan Post. Gallus will back us up here that we've also encountered Durastian soldiers as far east as Forest Hollow.
The general vibe the general setting and storytelling will indicate to the queen And she will confirm that that is my suspicions as well. This aligns with what I've been told and brought up to speed so far with thank you for your account of the tale. But the general storytelling is that it seems like Balan was being paid by some unknown M to allow Durastian soldiers into the nation for pay, and was outfitting them and smuggling them out of the town of Cardigan Post. And Elia maybe notably does nod at Gallus's suspicion and theory that the ones that made it to Forest Hollow may have been deserters, or whatever the situation is, may have been on their own ambition of some kind, or seemed separate and not heavily or adorned with Durastian armor. Certainly, they barely had traces of that. And then Gallus will also say, Your Majesty, we were eager to rush to the capital 2 days ago and deliver this strange news potentially involving Durast. And I'm glad we've been able to do so, but truthfully, we set out for the capital for an entirely different reason. As you likely know, Forest Hollow has been experiencing an increase in threats to our population. For the past 10 years, the Nora mercenaries have been able to provide for the town and protect our people. But recent events have confirmed my fears that the Noras alone are no longer enough to provide adequate protection. I'm finally at a place where I would like to formally request that we may be granted some small contingent of Glassguard to relocate to our town, take up residence there, and supplement our defenses. Elia just takes it all with careful nods and then speaks. It saddens me greatly to hear of the increased stress on Forest Hollow, and I'm grateful for your accounting of the tales at Cardigan Post. Then she looks directly at Gallus. As you know, I am more than willing to give our aid to you in almost any way you require, and I am, of course, amenable to positioning a contingent of Glassguard, in addition to supplementary supplies and arms at Forest Hollow. I will confer with General Elise and see what we can do for your home. If you'll allow me a day or two, I will send for you when we have evaluated our resources and determined a way to help. Speaking of which, Magnus, Queen Elia turns her head to her left to address her attendant down at her side, who almost managed to remain unnoticed during this entire conversation. Another tiefling gentleman with dark olive skin, slicked jet black hair, a carefully groomed mustache and goatee, and ornately adorned in red robes. He watches the entire conversation, not bothering to look down, but still writing furiously in a tome, absent-mindedly taking note with a quill that has a large, gaudy red feather plume. Please arrange for their steeds to be boarded and acquire 5 rooms at the Castle and Cask Inn for the duration of their stay, at no cost to our guests. She turns back to address you all. Magnus here is my noon, one of my most high-ranking officers and our master of court and coin. He will make sure you are well taken care of. Furthermore, Magnus, please see to it that our guests are provided an appropriate monetary recompense as well for their service to our nation and kingdom. Of course, Your Majesty. He bows with a slight smile and rights himself. Now, if you all will be staying here in Ostennis for a few days, is there anything particular you may like to do or see in your time here? I am happy to lend my name and seal of approval if necessary, to help make sure you are able to fully enjoy and take advantage of your time here, while we discuss and get back to you on the matters you have brought up here today.
I won't speak for the rest of our group, but
yes, Master Ironson. Master Toby Rama. I don't know if you gave a last name.
I did not.
Okay, Master Toby Rama.
Your city, it is beautiful, and I can't wait to take as much as I can in.
They can't hear us.
Can you guys hear us?
We can hear you. Yes.
Yep. Okay. It wasn't showing up. Sorry.
She just beams with a soft, very kind smile at hearing your words and nods in agreement. Is there anything you wish to do while you're here?
Guys got any big libraries here? Lots of big books?
Of course. We have the Palestone Archives. I fear it is shut down for the day, and tomorrow is the final Friday of the month, which in each case is when they typically do a monthly cleaning and reorganizing of resources and material. but the following day, it should be available for you. Not Fredos tomorrow, but Lordos the following day. But that is the Palestone Archives in the Commercial District.
Critter, I know I wrote this down wrong, but if you wouldn't mind, I'm looking for an establishment called Ensorcelment. I'm looking for one Jean Lavore.
A popular destination for those that travel here and know of him. I imagine Ira probably recommended him, yes?
Master Ira Middletop from Forest Hollow, his name precedes him apparently, sent me here, recommended I search out this Jean Lavore and the store in Ensorcelment.
Southern portion of the Commercial District. Ask around and you will find his abode.
Much appreciated.
I just took a big mouthful of chili.
In addition, you all, any that wish to, are able to communicate. She doesn't say are able to communicate with General Elise here, our general and captain of the Creation Army, at Glassguard Barracks if you need any additional assistance and I am not reachable myself. She takes up residence at the Glassguard Barracks. It is attached to the Coppercut Armory. Should you all need anything while you're here, please make it known to General Elise.
We are more than gracious, Your Majesty.
We're talking to Magnus right now, right?
Sorry, no, this is all Queen Elia.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm going to step forward and say, Queen Elia, I have left the Emerin in search of rumors of certain elves, and I would wish to read tales of maybe what has become of them, but also ask around through some networks to inquire if there's been any tale of where these elves have gone.
If I may ask, what elves are you seeking?
The sister people to my people, the Sun Elves.
I cannot, unfortunately, give any immediate insight into any knowledge I have of their whereabouts. I have never met a Sun Elf. Although the Palestone Archives certainly could be helpful. We have a number of maesters there that, in addition to the contents of the tomes there, have innumerous memories and knowledge bases that they may be able to help you out with as well. Specifically, elves that worship the sun. General Elise's brother runs a small monastery just southward outside of town, the Lux Monastery. If you are interested, you could go seek out Delta, is his name, Elise's younger brother. And he may have valuable insight to give, possibly. Their monastery studies and reflects on many ancient monastic traditions throughout history. And I know for a fact one of their reverations is that of Corellin. They may be able to give some lead, if you will, that I am unfortunately able not to.
That was to the south?
Yes, just southward outside the city.
Okay. Thank you so much, Your Grace.
Of course. In any case, welcome to our beautiful capital. Ostennis is happy to have you. I am happy to have you. I am ashamed that I do need to carry on to other matters this evening before the day escapes us, but I wanted to make sure to welcome you myself and verify your stay in the capital would be taken care of. I hope to see you all again very soon. Magnus, will you take care of them? Of course, Your Majesty. And Magnus will step forward, this tiefling gentleman, and usher you sideways down a corridor that extends off the hallway as you guys start to, if you follow him, start to make your way out of this hall.
Mm-hmm.
What do his horns look like?
His horns are much simpler than Elias. Elias are beautiful and almost like from birth got lucky with cool horns, if you will, that they gradually go back along her head and then jut upward. And then it seems like this custom crown she had made affixes a third horn to the front of her forehead. Magnus has very small, like little wavy ones that are much shorter, much less sleek, but still impressive. And he looks very regal and professional. Yeah, absolutely. You guys start to head toward following Magnus so that he can get you paid and have your accommodations at the Castle and Cask Inn set up.
I
Gallus,
wrote it down right.
As you guys start to exit toward that hallway, Gallus speaks up and says, "You guys go along with Magnus. I'll join you all a bit later after I discuss one more matter with the Queen." He ushers you along, and as you...
I was going to say...
yeah.
I'll give him an inquisitive and like trying to discern his intention, just like
just make an insight check.
Okay, because it seems weird for him to leave this aside at this point.
Insight's pretty good. He seems determined to speak privately with the Queen and is ushering you forward, which is maybe odd, but not nefarious. You trust Gallus, but something he feels needs to be discussed more privately. But as you guys exit the throne room following Magnus down this side hallway, you, specifically Toby Rama, with your very high passive perception, can hear Gallus back behind you. "Your Majesty, if I may, there's actually one final item I'd like to discuss with you, privately, if you don't mind." Make a perception check.
I made a note about this in session, whatever the fuck. He and Ira were talking about some shit. Perception.
Now that this caught your attention passively, as you kind of glance over your shoulder, make an active perception check.
That's exactly what I was talking about.
Let's go!
You see out of the corner of your eye, you see Gallus step forward toward the throne and pull out a small sack of wrapped cloth as he continues around the corner and you lose sight of him. But you all proceed.
Any extra words or anything?
You don't catch any additional words, but after he asked to speak privately, he pulled out a bundle of a sack of cloth that you all have seen before. He had it on the table with him in between Ira and him at the fair, was talking to him about that.
So
as you left Forest Hollow, Adola Moreau grasped his hands around the cloth, and it was a very meaningful gesture and embrace for a moment before Gallus stowed it in his pouch as you guys exited Forest Hollow. So you noticed him pull that out and approach the Queen.
I'll mental note that.
Sure. Anyway, you continue to Magnus's study. Very luxurious, very fine upholstery, ornate casting of gold furniture, very gaudy, but undeniably beautiful. Obviously stained glass adorned his entire side wall. And he reaches down into his desk and pulls out a small chest and slides it over to you. As thanks for your help with the whole cardigan situation. And he unlocks it and clicks it and just like kind of opens it as if like proposing to someone. He just like shows you 500 gold pieces and 50 platinum pieces.
If no one...
not a loose collection of coin just jumbled, very intently stacked and set in velvet, like kind of finery, cushionary. 500 gold pieces and 50 platinum pieces in this small chest.
No price could be set on the help.
If no one else makes an immediate, I will gently approach and make... Gently approach to receive that.
Don't be shy. It is yours, friend.
We
were merely hoping to help.
Additionally, there is a matter of the Queen's seal. He pulls out a small, very thinly rolled parchment scroll that has the seal of Austenus embossed on it, wax seal imprint. And you probably for the first time are seeing, well, you've maybe seen it on coin actually, but you're seeing the emblem of Austenus. It is on this round circular wax seal or coin. It is two twin palaces, perhaps of Austenus and Septellus, and a great bridge that join them, and a setting sun underneath that bridge.
Absolutely.
Before it disappears into the ocean. It roughly forms the shape of an A. but it is representative of these two twin cities.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool.
The shape of an A?
Roughly the shape of an A. It's two towers kind of like in perspective view, leaning towards each other perspective-wise, like you're low down in the river valley, and the bridge that connects them, and then a single circle representing the setting sun under the bridge.
Cool.
Her Majesty had mentioned something about what was it, the castle and cask inn?
Yes.
We have had a long day of travel before us.
I have already reached out to the owner. They will be expecting you. I have acquired 5 rooms. You can stay 2 days or 10. It will be at no charge to you.
Great, thanks.
South side of the commercial district.
So, commercial.
You were asking about ensorcement. It's not but 5 minutes walk from ensorcement, actually.
Thank you.
How much is 50 platinum?
500 gold.
So 500 gold.
So
and 500 gold.
you just got 1,000 gold.
Yeah. What the fuck? Holy shit!
Love to hear it.
My fuck.
Anyway, he will entertain you in conversation if you want. He'll make sure you know who to contact at the Castle and Cask Inn. Otherwise, eventually, Gallus will enter the room. All right, guys, let's head out to the Castle and Cask. I'm ready for a night in, if you don't mind.
What? Immediate judgment. What's his?
Bearing?
How's he? Yeah, exactly. His bearing. Positive, negative, anything.
Even continuing your high insight previously.
Similar.
Gallus.
Similar.
Okay. Jovial,
cool.
Generally friendly. Nothing of that's indicating, fear or I just had the craziest conversation on his face. Very simple, standard Gallus friendly face.
Awesome.
Half-cocked, arrogant, not arrogant, but half-cocked, confident smile.
All right, I think it's time to head to the inn.
All right. I wonder if Krell's still working there. And then as you guys proceed from the Royal District, escorted out by General Elise, but otherwise are free to explore the city at your leisure, though the sun has set and it is now dusk, essentially. Gallus will lead the way toward that southern portion of the commercial district, and you guys approach the Castle and Cask Inn.
Could you pull up that town map again?
Absolutely.
And Critter, just a quick question. When you said seal of the queen, what was this? Just like a piece of paper that had her stamp on it?
He did not necessarily elaborate, but the queen, recalling in your mind, the queen had suggested that if you need my seal approval for something you want to get done in the city, you shall have it. So essentially, it's essentially a one use. You can get enhanced access to this thing. So it is just whatever you choose to use it for or don't choose to use it for. If you got a run-in with the guard, maybe you could use it as a get yourself out of jail free card.
Cool.
Or if you go to the library and you want to get into the restricted section, you could use it. Like, there are various opportunities, but it's a loose, vague item that can be used in your benefit once in Ostennis.
Cool. Very.
But as you enter the Castle and Cask Inn, you immediately see straight ahead at the bar, both the bartender and innkeeper of this establishment, Krell, a turtle barkeep at Castle and Cask. He will greet you very enthusiastically. Oh yes, are you my 5 I'm putting up for a couple days? Happy to have you. Magnus reached out and I was happy to do him a favor.
We're grateful. We're grateful for the shelter. I'm Toby Rama. This is kind of our lead man Gallus, and we've got our other friends here.
Well, come this way. I'll show you the rooms. And this, I envision this bar. This is maybe weird to use such a specific reference, but in Skyrim, there's a Jarl's house in Winterhold that it's a tall ceiling. But it goes fairly far in, but it's a bar instead of a Jarl's palace. And there are staircases on each side that go up to a higher balcony level. And there are multiple rooms and corridors on each side of that system. So it's a fairly wide building, but noticeably, the Castle and Cask is kind of surprisingly upscale and fairly clean, while still presenting kind of a dimly lit bar feel. The tall ceilings and just kind of clean tabletops just definitely indicate this is not your average brawl house pub that everyone goes to get lit at. This is more of an upscale drinking facility that is primarily an inn, but does serve alcohol.
Is it like edge of commercial towards the residential, or is it the other way, edge of commercial towards the Royal District? Or
I apologize. I pulled up and I didn't click. So obviously you guys entered from here.
We saw the barracks. I see
you went to the barracks up here. Yeah, that's not mine. Someone did that, but it's really up toward the corner, but not that's neither here nor there. Prison Palace is in the very center, elevated above everything. Ensorcelment was suggested it was in roughly the center portion of the commercial district. Castle and Cask is specifically like right here.
Cool. Awesome.
And you took this path to get there before going down some alleys and different streets to get there. You did not necessarily see ensorcelment on the way. Just of note. Anyway, the rooms are free for you to unpack your things. As you begin to wind down for the night, just let me know if I can be of any assistance. And as you all bed down for the night, you grow to level 3. However, is there anything you guys want to do as you prepare to go to sleep?
I wanted to
in the capital.
Split resources.
You're absolutely able to do that. I essentially am going to enter the period of time in the next hour where I single all of you out and we do some one-on-one stuff. So feel free to let's take a pause real quick and sort out gold, make sure people's inventories are cool. We can do that right now. No worries.
We have 700 gold.
We have 600 gold and 50 platinum.
Yeah. So we have to ask.
In addition to a bunch of gold worth of gems. Yeah.
I just got a little gem pouch growing right now.
I will speak for myself right off the bat.
Gallus will make it clear he does not need your gold.
Fuck yeah. Okay. Gallus, you're
also Gallus getting very tender, welcoming attention from the Queen. Magnus seemed comfortable with him. General Least noticeably did not act like she knew Gallus, but Magnus has met Gallus before. He had met Krell. Gallus has some sway in the city.
I wrote insanely friendly. That was my description. I hope I'm not, stepping on any toes here, you all, but I would greatly appreciate that ruby and maybe 12, 13 of the platinum, and that's all I'm hoping for out of the rest of the resources. If we want to split up things evenly, absolutely, but those are valuable to me.
Yeah, certainly. I'll take out the gem pouch, and I'll give the ruby. You wanted the ruby?
The ruby.
I'll give you the ruby. Do you want any of these?
I just need some gold for a bit of resources.
I'll just have the gems here for party funds.
Also, this happened off screen, and we didn't necessarily roll through it. Roulette, in any small talk with General Elise on your way to or out of the prison palace, she would have just engaged you in small talk, and you realize she and potentially the barracks in general are very knowledgeable of whatever town defenses. They are obviously the defense force in the city, but also she insinuated that she knows about the wall tower defenses that kind of surround the city, etc. So she just had a nice conversation with you about that kind of stuff.
So the 600 gold, 500 plus 100.
600 and then another 50 platinum.
So 600 divided by 4 is 150. So everyone should add 150 gold. And then let's just do the platinum on its own too. 50 divided by 4 equals
12.25.
12 for everyone, and you get the 13th. right? No, that's 2 of us we get.
Correct.
So
I'll take 12.
And then Jiri, you can have the other one. So Jiri and Toby, you get 13 platinum. Me and Roulette get 12p.
But we all get that 150.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I like the idea. I like the idea that we just, these gems. I asked for the ruby because I know it can be helpful for something. So I think the gems themselves have some value outside of their gold value.
Yeah, why don't we just hold those in a bag and anyone can ask for them and we'll not sell them out immediately.
I'll hold on to the seal of the queen.
I like that. I like that.
Why don't you take a diamond just in case for any?
Oh no, I'm not gonna. No, the gold and platinum is plenty for me.
Okay. Okay. Resources shared.
God damn, there's no reason we should have this much money. Let's go.
Now we get a shot.
I'm so hyped.
Get robbed.
This is not pulling back the curtain too much to say, depending on the way you resolved Cardigan Post, there were thresholds of the reward you were going to get, and you handled it very well.
Did so.
We'll do that later.
Tim, what is Jiri's persona as he's getting granted this new wealth? Not that I have no idea if he's ever had more, but this is an influx of wealth, and Toby's just keeping an eye on Jiri. Does he seem excited to have gold? Does he seem indifferent to it? He's more focused on status.
Yeah, he's been indifferent to money this whole time. It's just like things don't really cost anything, in his mind. It's just like,
gotcha.
It comes and goes. Money's, flowing in, flowing out type of deal.
Love it.
That's time for me.
So, as you guys start to set up in your separate respective rooms, you each get your own room. There were 5. Queen was not going to let you guys have to bunk. She wanted to provide adequate accommodations. Let's start with Telperion.
Oh.
How do you set up for bed?
Yeah, usually I guess I'll take off my armor. My sword's been thoroughly polished since there's not much just while we were camping and stuff, keeping it clean. I don't know, just go down to a shift, a little tunic, and then sit on the bed, get nice and comfortable, try to trance.
Okay. As you bed down for the night and enter your trance, no immediate difficulty trying to trance this night, although many thoughts seem to come to you rather than your typical process of guiding your consciousness where you want. Flashes of memories and thoughts kind of assault your mind. You remember your people, the Silver Birch Elves. You think of your mother and father and sister and the Crescent Knights. Memories of your journey northward through the Emerald Forest flash through your head. And you wonder why now these abilities are developing inside you. You remember meeting Jiri and Moby right outside Forest Hollow, then Roulette, Toby Rama, and Gallus inside the town. You recall discovering the abandoned Sun Elf ruins and Toby Rama singing in a beautiful language you've only heard about in theory through your studies. Flashes of your friends and various situations come across your mind, instigating memories of true competency as they navigate the world around them. Even for non-elves, or especially for non-elves, these recent comrades have proven legitimately valuable and self-sufficient. Then you recall Jiri fall with Toby Rama, plummeting down the Cardigan Mine ravine, and think of how you almost instinctively were able to slow their fall, pushing your focus far further than you've ever managed in your life. The Crescent Knights would be pretty amazed at your developing psionic ability, but why now? Please make an intelligence saving throw.
Holy shit! I love this!
Oh, the stress. 15.
15 was the DC. That is a success. These visions of your friends and their jarringly different ways of moving about their day-to-day life flash across your mind faster and faster and faster, and you experience a splitting headache. As you focus on the source of this pain, though, probing deep inside your own mind, you sense a very distinct sensation in your head behind your eyes. Whatever this thing is, this source of pain, tenderness, feeling, it feels fragile but powerful. And as you concentrate on it, the visions of your memory slowly cease, no longer assaulting your mind, and a calm white light fills your mind for the duration of your trance. And unbeknownst to you, the trancing form of Telperion Loonsong, sitting trancing on his bed, is surrounded by a hovering sword, a hovering crescent sliver, another sliver, your pack, all just while you are in your trance. These objects are hovering all together, circling your body. Roulette.
Physically or images of
Physically.
them? Okay.
This is almost borderline for audience to know. This is for us at players at the table. Telperion does not realize what he's doing, but his own personal belongings are orbiting his head in his vicinity right now.
Awesome.
Roulette. Anything you want to do before you bed down for the night?
Sorry, I
What?
messing with my inventory.
Your audio is coming through.
Weird
badly.
audio.
How's that?
Sound good again. Sound good again.
Good. So in case you have any strokes of genius or ideas for things, or you're reflecting on General Lisa's invitation to visit the barracks in the near future, anything you want to reflect on or do this night?
I'm making duplicate diary entries, all describing what this entire fucking city looks like. One half of that is going to back home, in a letter back home. The other is going just in my notes, along with like sketches of the walls and other shit. And then the other specific thing I'm doing is just emptying my pockets, all of my pockets, because I have a lot of shit in my pockets, and I'm kind of coming to terms with how much shit I'm actually carrying.
Yeah, you've definitely accumulated a lot of stuff in the last couple of weeks, both on the road to Forest Hollow and from Forest Hollow.
So I'm kind of just trying to like organize it.
Yeah, absolutely. Of note, also, there is a Magnus had mentioned it. General Elise and Queen Elia had mentioned receiving message by Raven, and Cardigan Post had that as well. Of note, they have a pigeon post and an aviary here that can send letters at faster speeds than what Forest Hollow was able to do for a few silver sending a courier. So,
yeah, I already wrote that down. I was going to do that tomorrow too.
Absolutely. It just may ring in your mind of, wait, this is going to be even easier to get communication there. But pondering on new ideas, that your existing circumstances, as you slip into sleep, please make a Constitution saving throw for me after 2 nights of previous peaceful sleep.
Of course.
Very good.
Nice.
Once again, a familiar sensation. You start to convulse in your sleep, awakening you for a moment due to a sudden discomfort in your body, a nausea, but with a belch accompanied by the faint smell of burning ozone. Your stomach settles, and you peacefully sleep through the night.
You dying? I don't know.
Toby Rama.
Mm-hmm.
Anything you do before bed?
I kind of make note of all my gatherings. We've got more coin now. We had some fun journeys along the way, but bereft of my idol I normally would pray to, I take some time to focus on my glove and the emblem emblazoned within, and I'll take some time to dedicate some quiet moments to Kelimvor, and then just bed down.
Awesome. As you drift off to sleep, once more, the familiar silver mists accompany you in the darkness.
Mm-hmm.
Through the darkness, though, you blink and you can suddenly see the darkened room you fell asleep in. And mists are everywhere. They seem to be flowing out of the window and underneath the door, drifting out into the city surrounding your area. Curling, flowing, almost beckoning for you to follow their current.
I'll follow the current of the mist leading out the window.
Okay. There's a small roof awning ledge outside your window, and as you poke your head outside, the mists are flowing, all converging from various sources throughout your environment, all converging along a path through the street, flowing in one direction. Noticeably, there are no lights on. They're in the surrounding city. No lanterns are lit, no torches, no human drunken populations in the city. Desolate. Only you and this mist beckoning for you to follow its current.
Is the mist providing any light?
It is not providing light, but similarly to previous dreams, it's almost reflective of some non-existent light source.
Okay.
Yes.
I will begin to travel along the path that the mist seems to be traveling.
You feel the space around you. It feels like you're walking around the city, but there is no one to be seen except the cool and comforting sense of these mists surrounding your form. They lead out of the darkened form of the castle in Caskin. No one is present other than you in these streets. And the mists continue to flow through streets, through alleys. You follow westward. They eventually lead to a familiar sight of wrought iron gateposts that rise and curve into an arched entrance to the Cycles End Cemetery. Onyx bits of metal kind of catch your eye out of the sides, and then you don't see any bit of, it's just a simple stone graveyard. You continue to follow these mists, and again, similarly to before, almost like rivers, currents, branches of a river, they flow into each other and change direction and loop and all converge. And finally, they reach an onyx tombstone with a single wax candle sitting on top of it.
Is there, are there words inscribed on the tombstone?
There are several words written in common and a small celestial phrase. In common, it is written, I'm actually going to throw this whole thing out there.
Yes, that is wonderful.
In common is written, Volok Viseri, eternal night to his lord. And then in celestial, you notice now how to spot the difference. Your mind almost instinctively, innately translates for you, but you now know how to spot celestial when you see it. Any other person would see it as an inscrutable separate language, but your brain almost is passively interpreting it in your vision. But it reads, Ambulare Thanati Moriellum, a celestial phrase that somehow you instinctively know means walk in death, doom guide. And I'll write that in the chat as well. Doom guide. Walk in death, doom guide. And you recognize the phrase walk in death from your encounter with a traveling group of individuals, Sir Tamora, that you met maybe a year ago or so. Their apparent leader at the time, Kelsier, had nodded toward another in their group, suggesting that he had walked in death. So that phrase rings a bell for you. Yeah, the name Kelsier's a good name. As you read that and look back up to see this candle, a familiar sensation of the candle alights with a pitch black flame that immediately surrounds your vicinity in complete and absolute darkness. Silver mists pick up again around your form. And as you look down, you see that you're standing on what looks to be an ancient gray stone. As you walk a bit, your stomach almost drops as this platform you're on comes to an end and your foot dangles over the side. After a moment of surveying your surroundings, you're able to determine that you're on a stone platform about 10 feet in diameter, floating amidst an endless expanse of darkness and fog. Suddenly, your legs almost give out from under you as the platform lurches into the air, soaring upward rapidly as wind streaks by your face. After a few moments of this dizzying sensation, you spot a form above you. Similarly, but opposingly, hurtling down towards you, a spot of gray in the sky. It grows larger and larger as another stone platform plummets down towards you. Through a moment of fear, you realize it's not on a trajectory that would collide with yours. And as the platform under you begins to slow its ascent, the opposing platform slows its descent and comes to an even level with yours, roughly 30 feet away. Standing on that opposing platform is a hooded form of a humanoid, draped in ivory and gray robes, a large hood obscuring the face entirely in pitch blackness, and 6 enormous angelic wings formed out of silver mist stretch out from behind him, 3 on each side. Ironson, Balance Bringer, you wield my lord's divine influence well, and even so, have still encountered situations that could bring about your end, such as the balance of his domain. You walk a curious path, originating from curious origins. My lord confidently accepts your service, seeing something in you that may sway the scales of destiny in your world. However, there is an imbalance that he wishes to amend. He feels he has too quickly taken the fealty of an individual already bound to another divine presence. He does not wish for your dedication unless you feel confident in your choice. Balance Bringer, have you wondered why you can speak the language of divinity without ever having studied the tongue? Or why your own innate ability to heal others manifests a light of a different sort than of the serene silver lights of the eternal judge Kellenfor? My lord has not divulged the nature of the divine blessing you carry, but has entrusted to me, at the very least, power to restore your memory of previous dreams. He raises his hand, and all goes white. Your vision crystallizes, and you see a familiar temple, orphanage, streets of your home in Cliffshade, in the mountainous terrain of eastern Durast. You soar above it all, in a familiar sensation that feels as if you're being carried, but also like you have a freedom of your own. You feel a comforting hand on your shoulder, and as you look up, you barely catch a beautiful tan skin arm and a being with long, flowing golden blonde hair and brilliant wings of twilight at your back, helping keep you aloft. Before you have even a moment to examine the being's face, cold air rushes into your lungs, and you're pulled back into the dark fog and cobblestone platform across from the angel, this deva of your god Kellenfor. It appears you had many dreams like this in your youth. That which I have reminded you of now, was the final time you dreamed, when you were 5 years of age. It appears you have not dreamed like it since, without my assistance, though my lord did not give a reason why. The truth is that our Lord does wish for the service of warm, kind-hearted mortals like yourself, but wants you to make an informed choice about who to follow, since it would appear this other being still has remnants of power to bestow. He gestures towards you with his hand, nodding toward your left shoulder, then your right, almost looking past you from beneath the hood's darkness. A brilliant magenta light springs forward and reflects around the mist around you. And as you look over your shoulders, you see wide angelic wings, reminiscent of the being from your dream. However, instead of the multicolored pattern of twilight you saw in the dream, your wings, although feathered and full, are a soft, simple magenta coloration toward the top that fade into a sickly, dull gray color at the bottom. More notably, toward the bottom of each wing, you see that the feather tips seem to slowly be curling back and disintegrating away magically into nothingness, seemingly in a state of perpetual disintegration. Now that the memory of your dream has been restored to you, you may call upon this power occasionally when you feel the need, though it will not last long. You glance back at your wings, and the feathers have continued to rapidly dissolve, indicating a time limit in the time of use for this power. Kelemvor would be gracious to continue receiving your service should you choose to give it. Perhaps we shall speak again. Until then, and the platform holding the Deva across from you accelerates once again rapidly into the air as you feel the cobblestone below you drop from underneath your feet and you plummet to the ground. As you descend into the darkness below, your vision goes black until you awake in your bed after a night's rest with the dawn barely peeking around the corner with a simple wax candle sitting atop your nightstand. And I have to create the item, but you have achieved the candle of anti-light, in which you can add to your inventory, but I need to create it.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Roulette just didn't puke.
I had so much I wanted to say, but the diva was not. He seemed he had an agenda.
His presence definitely was like, I am communicating to you. You are to listen, except. But you awake in your bed. Jiri.
Sorry.
As you settle down to sleep, Jiri, some sort of odd discomfort within your body keeps you awake for a while.
Wait, can I say what I do before I go to bed?
Absolutely.
So Jiri, on his way in through town, was looking and trying to see if there was any form of entertainment going on. And he stopped by a bulletin board, and he left the flyer there. Maybe there was a flyer for other performances.
There's several bills and playbills and posters, and essentially, come to this place to do this thing. There's also a job list of aimless people throughout the city that need help with things and can't afford to necessarily request the guards' help.
He goes to bed wishing he had taken one of those rats.
What?
Like he says rats, I wish I'd taken one, right?
Yeah. I wish I had taken one of those bills.
Rats.
I was like, what did we encounter that?
As you settle down to sleep, this discomfort within your body keeps you awake for a while. You notice yourself shivering. And then with a whoosh of energy, you feel almost assaulted as something happens to your body and you warm up. And floating, gently swaying down to the ground, a playbill for a local entertainment venue that has some performers coming by tomorrow. What do you do?
Moby, is that you?
No response.
Oh boy, I don't know how this got here.
And all of a sudden, you feel this very odd sensation. And along your peripheral of your vision, thin black tendrils of inky-like liquid metal start to creep into your vision. And your vision dims slightly. And you hear a voice deep inside you, reluctantly familiar. No. It is not time yet for rest. It is time we had a talk. I do apologize for taking control in some of your recent bouts of violence, but I have a vested interest now in making sure you, and therefore I, stay alive. For the most part, though, I have tried to interfere with your control much less than on that day. A memory flashes across your mind as you see yourself pulling a dark black, reflectionless blade from a guard in a prison. The guard has red and black armor. I think I may have overstepped, shall we say, channeling too much magic through your fragile form that day. And so over the past few months, I have stayed low, watching and learning. Who are you, strange creature? You tell those in your company that you are Jiri, but when I bonded to you, you are someone else. Jax, I think it was. I wish to come to some form of trust between you and I, so I will do my best not to impose my will on your form without your consent. However, I have been growing impatient, and I emphasize that I need to find my way to the ones who did this to me, to us. This abominable form feels wrong, and its energy is consumed too quickly. You feel a discomfort in your arm, and as you look down, you see dark twisting tendrils of the black sludge writhing beneath your skin like terrible black veins. Steam is emitting from all of your pores and body. Then the sludge continues to suffuse through your skin, crawling across your hands and coating your hands in black and congealing on your knuckles, the weapons you've been using as of late. I need you to help me find my quarry, and in return, I will continue to grant you what magic and weapons I can. Involuntarily, your arm flexes and reaches to your sword's sheath and draws the familiar purple Odashi blade from it. The black reflectionless sludge extends and stretches over the form of this blade, coating it entirely with black. And then with a burst of intensely hot steam, the blade vanishes, and the remaining ichor-like tendrils on your hands shift and writhe. If you vow to bring me the one I seek and help me find them, I will continue to grant you more of my power and allow you to manipulate my wretched form as you wish, at nothing more than a thought. Over the next 6 seconds, the sludge shifts, covers your knuckles, forming into black metal rivets on your knuckles. Then 6 more seconds, it shifts into the shape of a Vanta black, reflectionless dagger. And finally, over 6 more seconds, into the familiar form of your slightly curved Odashi longblade, no longer purple, but a reflectionless black. Bring me to my quarry. As the black tendrils of slime at the edges of your vision recede from your eyes, peeling back into your form, steam pours from your body, causes you to feel dizzy, and you fall back asleep. Moments later, you wake, thinking, what an odd memory that was. Did I just dream that? And in a delusional portion of Jiri's brain, you hear a different voice. Ja Jiri, Ja Jarland, my son, you must bring me to the one who has slain me. We must seek revenge, and you must take back the throne for yourself. It will be difficult, but you must find my quarry. And all of a sudden, your blade, reflectionless black material, starts to hum and buzz, and you can feel energy being channeled into it. As if, has Adras, the Stormbender, just charged your sword in some odd way? Perhaps you're not sure what the nature of this increased power is, but you feel certain that Adras, your father, has commanded you to find the one who did this to him. His son, your brother, Jadrakar. And once again, steam pours from your body and knocks you unconscious as you complete your long rest.
Feeling like
He's
it's
gonna throw up.
What, Jerry?
You know how in dreams, like when you try to talk and like no sound comes out, I feel like that's what I was doing the whole time. It's just like trying to speak, but nothing, no sound.
Yeah. And outside of character, I apologize for railroading some of you guys, but gotta get some stuff across.
No, I love it.
But you all successfully complete your long rest and awake on the morning of Fredas, 29th of Hearthfire. What do you guys want to do?
Chris, should I show up
Real-
now or should I wait?
Yeah, actually, real quick, does everyone have their mini at hand, near them, on them?
Mine's in the other room. Should I get it?
If you want, if you're willing.
I didn't throw up, so I should be able to get it.
Well, your real content takes place this day.
Ooh, look at the yellow on Jerry. I still gotta glue my sword back on. I knocked it off again.
Jiri, Telperion, Steve's getting roulette. And you guys have never seen Toby Rama's mini.
Have we not?
Oh no, yeah,
You
'cause
guys-
we haven't seen Toby's yet.
No one has seen Toby Rama's mini. Toby Rama, reveal your mini.
Oh my god. Damn.
Magenta
With a hammer.
wings that fade to gray and disintegrate at the edge. Your radiant soul ability.
What's that?
But you all awake on the morning of Fredas, 29th of Hearthfire. You may have various pursuits that you are interested in the day, but I'd like to start with roulette. Roulette, there's an open invitation for you to visit the Glassguard barracks. I don't know if you have other priorities on your mind or if you're interested in pursuing that.
The two things that I want to do: one, talk to General Elise more about city defenses. Two, find this Jean. Is Jean a man or a woman, or do I not know?
Gene seems to have been a close friend of Ira Middletop's when he used to live in Ostennis and is a male gnome like he is.
Master, I guess the master can be female. One Mr. Jean Lavora. Those are my two things.
So I would know from what Jiri heard that the library is closed today.
Correct.
So I would go up to Roulette and say, Roulette, I actually would like to go with you to the barracks and just see. I just have a couple armor-related questions. I could use a couple moments and warm up over that.
To the barracks.
Cool. So Toby, Rama, and Jiri, we can essentially, this may take the next couple minutes, but we'll get to you guys in your pursuits in the morning afterward, unless you'd like to accompany them to the barracks. But for Roulette and Telperion, journeying to the barracks this morning, cashing in on that invitation to visit. As you arrive at the barracks, General Elise is notably not there at the moment, being in charge of a whole lot of shit as the commander of the Creation Army and general of the forces. However, someone will usher you forward. Oh, you want to talk to you? I think you need to talk to Marta Coppercut. She runs the Coppercut Armory that's attached to the barracks. I think she's expecting you. And as you guys approach the Coppercut Armory attached to the Glassguard barracks, you are able to meet Marta Coppercut, roughly the same height as Jokel, but easily twice the mass in pure muscle. Enormous orc woman, full-blooded orc. And Marta, I'm not going to necessarily RP through a lot of this, but Marta will excitedly greet Roulette and welcome her and explain that Marta is the one who helped build the city wall defense ballistae and cannons, and she trains future Glassguard barracks smiths that construct armor and help with various tasks in the city. And then she may be interested in helping you, Telperion, guide you toward the commanding armies like bunks and training grounds and all that. And you are free to essentially train with them if you would like to for the morning. But primarily, we lost you guys' audio.
Yes, that is correct.
Okay,
You're
I
back.
do present her with the Jurassian armor first. And I want to say, I picked this up along our journey, and I obviously can't wear this now.
Certainly not.
For several reasons, the color is all off, all that. I would love to end up with some plate I could wear. Could I either trade this to you for something else, or could I pay somebody to, change the style and the color for me?
Sure. At this armory, we particularly work on most of the Glass Guard's amber armor in terms of armor, but we can absolutely take a look at that and get it polished up and repainted for you if you wish. Let me look here in my ledger real quick. She kind of examines the price of typical plate armor. Obviously, you're supplying all the materials here. If you're willing to pay 50 gold, we can repolish it, refinish it, and paint it with whatever metallic mixtures we currently have on staff. Any suggestions for that?
You know how your armor is copper and it's all those brilliant colors? I would love that, but in silver and blue.
Silver and blue. Ooh.
Opposite.
We can make that happen.
Dirty.
And she will kind of usher you to the side, get you going with another smith to kind of custom polish up your armor and wear it down, scrub it down, refinish it, repolish it, and make sure some of the straps of that Jurassian plate are amenable to your form and stuff. And
so expressive.
And for 50 gold, you can spend the next couple hours training, getting this armor modified, repainted essentially, in whatever color palette you wish.
Yeah, would fucking love to do that. Could they put
So go ahead.
Could they put some vines on it? And
they may ask for additional gold for like accents and
60
additional
gold.
craftsman work. Yeah, they'll for 60 gold they'll do some minor filigree work.
There we go. Yeah, I'll happily pay 60 gold.
Okay, so remove 60 gold from your inventory, and you now have functional plate armor in Durastian style, but your personal color make palette.
That's so hype.
Fuck yeah.
That's so hype.
I'm putting it on.
And Roulette, she has been given specific direction from General Elise to show you around the barracks, to show you the warehouse, and she gets very exaggeratedly excited at talking about the ballistae around the tower's defenses. You asking about how can we potentially protect Forest Hollow better, even outside of manned defense. And she will show you that she'll whip out blueprints and spread them out the table proudly, saying those ballistae you see on the walls, they're not just static towers either. And she goes over to a roll of indigo paper and shows you fine chalk lines displaying intricate plans for what are essentially movable, adaptable, responsive tower-like drones armed with ballistae and arcane cannons that spellcasters can channel magic into to repel invading forces or otherwise. She will, if you're interested, there's a few more theoretical models in the back that I never was able to get to work quite right. It could be useful to make those defenses more mobile, but I haven't been able to figure out the arcane enchantments and how to wire them together. And she will bring you to the back, her own personal back workroom, which is almost a smaller personal warehouse, and shows you enormous forges, carts of ore, hundreds of multi-level shelves of ingots and metal sheets. If the queen sent you, you're good enough for me. You up for helping me out for the next couple hours?
I am quite honestly speechless. I'm certainly, yes. I'd love to take a crack. A friend of mine back in Forest Hollow, Joe Kill, gave me kind of an intro to smithing. my father would be in dumbfound to see the kind of place where I'm working right now.
Can I walk in at this point? Like I got the armor done, and I go, "Oh my god, this."
This is a separate warehouse. She's invited to Roulette, so this is a little bit more private access.
Sure,
so you're not able to find her in that moment.
That's fine.
Yeah,
but she will gladly take you under her wing, or really needs your help on some theories she's been working on, and you're able to work with her for the next several hours on whatever you like. She will provide metal and aid you in heavy lifting, but otherwise gladly poke your brain for knowledge and generally accommodate your suggestions and specifications. And at the end of the process, we'll kind of sit back in amazement. Now that is a stroke of genius, Miss Roulette. You've really done me a favor too. I figure I might be able to work some of these ideas into future use for the glass guard. May take me some time, but why don't you take this one out for a spin over the next couple of days and report back with how she runs. Gotta say, I'm optimistic.
Marta, I told you this is not from. I'm definitely taking this thing out for a spin, but I told you this is not for me. This is for betterment of Creatia.
I appreciate that.
I'm gonna use this, test this, and I will diligently report back, and I'll be back to make sure I can help you make a few more of these.
I want the reveal to happen this session, but it may not happen to the other characters. As you exit the private warehouse,
we can start next session with it if you want.
I want to end with it if you're comfortable with that.
Sure, we can make that the very last thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to do this in a way that let's pause there. Toby, Rama, and Jiri, are there any priorities you guys want to pursue in the morning? You guys are all going to be able to meet back up around noon or so. Anything you guys are pursuing in the morning?
I am very interested in seeking out a jeweler specifically.
You are absolutely able to. After asking around a little bit, Gallus may even point you in the right direction. You're able to find the store Quintessence. And run by Ari Preston, an elderly halfling man jeweler. What can I do for you today?
Happy to make your patronage. This is my first time in the city.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
Glad to have you.
Yes, I know.
Especially if you bring coin.
Always. Thank you. I have this ruby. And I was actually curious if you could just process it into a finer dust.
I can powder gems, of course. Could I see the item in question?
I would imagine a 50 gold value ruby is.
It's like a 1 carat diamond essentially, or 1 carat ruby.
I'll present it.
You will take it. Wow, quite a find, or maybe a gift. I can powder this for you.
Quite a stroke of luck, I'll say.
I certainly, obviously, would not charge you for the worth of the gem. It is quite fine and is yours, of course. I think the only thing you may need to pay for is my time to make sure it gets done.
Of course.
How about you give me 2 hours or so and 5 gold, and you come back and I'll have this ready for you.
5 gold. That sounds very reasonable. In the
Can
meantime,
I interest you in anything else while you're here?
Absolutely. Maybe this is your realm of expertise. Maybe this is something you can recommend me to. I was interested in acquiring a pair of platinum rings. Like
we certainly can do something like that.
Pure platinum bands.
Sure.
To adorn.
Here, step over to this case with me, and he'll go over to a simpler, smaller case. Not necessarily the beautiful diamond rings and ornate gold with inset rubies and sapphires and stuff, but a more simple case where there's silver rings and white gold rings and yellow gold rings and platinum rings. Okay, we've got a lot of variety in our simple rings. What are you looking for? Are you looking for something really well crafted with a lot of beautiful filigree, or just something that'll get the job done?
The aesthetic of it is definitely of a lower priority. I'm more interested in the worth. I'd love to have equal value. 5, maybe more platinum, so 50 gold worth platinum bands to be worn.
Okay. To clarify, don't you need 2 100 gold worth rings?
They're each 5. They're each 50 gold worth. I can pull up.
Oh, they're each 50 gold. You're right. I was misremembering. But
okay.
Yes, absolutely. He can give you he kind of overlooks some of the more ornately carved ones, and they're very simple, rounded bands that are virtually 5 platinum worth melted down and formed into a ring. Very basic, but worth 50 gold a piece still, just from the material alone. Is this too simple for you? Is this what you're looking for?
Precisely what I'm looking for. Your selection is incredible. Thank you.
Okay, well, let's say 100 for the pair, and you're good to go.
Absolutely, and I'll offer the 10 platinum that I have at my disposal.
Perfect. So 10 platinum and 5 gold pourer
for the ruby dust.
Yes. You now have your 2 platinum rings, and should you wait 2 hours and amuse yourself otherwise, you have 50 gold worth of powdered ruby dust.
That is my plan.
Perfect. Jiri, anything of note in the morning before we potentially all meet up for around noon and continue the day?
Yes. Jiri wakes up, had a dream of his daddy, very happy. So he has the brochure, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
Yes. Yeah, the playbill. Yep.
And he's assuming that his father gave it to him, and he's like, he's reinvigorated for his quest, and he's going to go out searching for his mother at all these plays that are taking place in the morning.
So the playbill that had been dropped in your room is a playbill that is a play that is going to take place at the Brazen Bold Tavern tonight.
All right.
So it is indicating that there's a performance to be seen that night.
Then I will meditate. I will take my hand wraps off, and I will meditate with my sword, and that's it.
Okay. Your sword feels enhanced. It feels like it hums in your grasp, coated in black now. Odd, considering it was purple just yesterday, and now is such a deep Vanta black that it reflects no light around it, but occasionally steams with very subtle hints of green and blue and red and yellow. A dark steam aura containing hints of iridescent color. Rarely, but occasionally.
He's going to take that as a good sign of progress.
It seems more charged than it was yesterday, whatever that may mean. So now to go back to Roulette and Telperion. Roulette, as you and Marta and whatever you have been working on emerge from the private warehouse of Marta's private warehouse, and Telperion is able to finally track you down, what does Telperion see?
Oh no. I'll shout to Telperion and be like, Telperion, I'm going out for a quick walk. I've gotta go see the sights. I'll meet you and the other guys back at the Castle and Cask in like an hour or two.
Sure, have fun. I think I'm training at this point with my.
So I will. I'll
Also,
sneak out. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So you're continuing to work. Telperion, notably, as you're training, something feels different. There's like a small buzz in your mind that is like similar to the sensation of a headache without giving you any pain. There's painless, but this like throbbing in your mind that feels less of an like interruption of stasis, but more of a hum of power. And as you're gesturing and doing forms and learning with the glass guard, learning different techniques than you've typically studied as an elf, there's something expanding within your mind that you don't understand, but it is noticeable. But otherwise, at Roulette's suggestion, you guys, the three of you, Telperion, Jiri, and Toby Rama, after pursuing some morning frivolities, can meet back at the Castle and Cask Inn for lunch, unless Telperion, you had something else.
I'm gonna ask whoever's in charge of like armor and stuff. If I have some armor and a weapon to sell, would you all be purchasing, or should I have somewhere in the city?
Sure, we can smelt that stuff down. What do you got to sell?
I want to hand over the chainmail that I had been wearing. I don't think anyone can wear chainmail. Reflecting on my group's composition, can any of them wear chainmail?
I already am.
Okay.
You're wearing a chain shirt.
Shirt.
Very different.
But they wouldn't want heavy armor chainmail.
Perhaps not.
Okay, I'm gonna sell it anyway. And then I also would sell the warhammer that I picked up.
So buying armor and used weapons, they at max will give you half gold value for it. So let's say for chain mail, you can add. Wow, that's more expensive than I thought. For chainmail, you can add 37 gold.
Dang, it's worth 75. Damn.
And what was the other one? A warhammer?
Yeah, which has, according to Beyond, is 50.
You guys' audio is being weird again.
The audio.
I'm very curious about what's causing that, just out of session. But that's just me.
Let's look at it later.
You guys are sounding great again. Like it's clearly a quick fix.
Yeah, I just have to unplug it, replug it in, and then turn the camera back on. It's very weird, though. Okay, the warhammer.
The warhammer. As you're about to sell it, you suspect you can absolutely sell it. There may be someone in your party that could make use of it if they wanted to, but I just don't want to make you sell it for cheap and then have to buy it back at full sometime. But you can absolutely sell it.
I'll just hang on to it then. What?
I was trying to ask Critter if it was me.
Is it roulette?
You can. I think another person can too.
I'll hang on to it then. So I'll just get 37. Thank you.
Yeah.
Really, the most exciting thing is getting the chainmail out of my inventory.
Yes, that is 55 pounds lighter, I guess.
Yeah, I'm down to 162 weight carry, which is pretty heavy still. Awesome. Thank you.
So otherwise, you guys can kind of meet back up at the Castle and Cask Inn. And if Roulette wants to, if her work for the morning's complete, I'll let Steve lead the charge on Roulette's whereabouts, but she may come join you at some point.
Yeah, Roulette's gonna. So Marta told her all about these towers, these mobile towers, and the ballistae and all this other shit. She's gonna do like a quick walking tour of the walls, just to like see it really quick, but making a beeline back to the Castle and Cask Inn because she knows she wants to get to Ensorcelment at some point today to meet up with Jean Labor.
Is there anything of note as you meet the others back at the Castle and Cask Inn?
Roulette. And
I'm assuming that I'll for showmanship, I'm assuming the three of you are outside.
Yeah.
Is Gallus there? Who knows if Gallus?
Gallus made it clear in the morning that he has plenty of errands to attend to, so he is elsewhere in the city.
Are those errands at the Prism Palace?
Unclear.
Queen Aaliyah.
Alaya. I keep saying that.
Same.
So assuming the three of you are out front, as Roulette comes around the corner, two things. First, she's still got her shield on her back, and she's still got the mace on her side, but she's noticeably carrying a lot less. So in addition to the shield and the mace on her left hip, she's got a shoulder strap bag, and you can only tell it's a shoulder strap bag because it like cuts against the pockets, but the actual bag literally just looks like the chest portion of her leather armor because it's literally just all leather and it's still covered in a ton of pockets with one big pocket on the top of it, and she's carrying that down at her side. But she has like, you don't see the bedroll or like the torches dangling or anything like that.
No quick wicks visible.
No, you don't see any of like any of like the loose stuff that she normally like would like be poking out of extra pockets that she never really uses right away. That's nowhere to be seen. She looks much.
And Roulette, you can feel free to add that to your inventory, by the way, if you haven't already.
Did.
Okay.
That's all done. Yeah.
Number two.
She looks much crisper. So second thing you notice is that about 3 or 4 feet behind and to the side to Roulette, you see it's about 2 feet in diameter, a ball, a ball that's constantly rolling forward at the exact same pace that Roulette is moving. It's like I don't want to call it like a dark brown steel, but it's almost like a copper.
It's like one of those dwarven spears almost from.
Yes.
Toby's like, Roulette. You got something following you. You got something following you.
As far as like the color goes, it's like very thematically matching the city, specifically the Prison Palace.
So it's metal, but not coated with amber. So let's say bronze.
It's like a bronze. Yes, that's actually what I was thinking of. Yeah, so it's like a bronze. If you think of like a dwarven sphere from ESO, it looks very similar to that. But as it's rolling, it's a solid sphere from everything you see. As it gets closer, Toby, I'll hold on one second. As you get closer, it is covered in runes, but it's like very. It's not like covered. It's like there's circles of runes going around. I had a bit of a working morning. And as I come up to you, the ball kind of keeps coming and stops right next to me. I had a bit of a working morning, and I made a thing. I'd like to congratulate you because you're all present for the Tinkerton's family's official first foray into international business. This thing right here, I'd say it's a bit of an olive branch between the nation of Belladonna and Croatia, specifically the Tinkerton family and the royal throne at the capital of Ostenis. Everyone, I'd like you to meet Alfie. Alfie, this is everyone. The ball does not move.
What's an Alfie?
Alfie, and I give it a kick. Alfie, you got to be nice and you got to say hi. Alfie, this is everyone. As I give it another kick, from the bottom half of the sphere, on like 4 quadrants, like 4 corners of what the sphere would be, tiny little slits open up, and spider-like legs poke out, touch the ground, and the ball elevates about like 1.5 feet, 2 feet off the ground, so it's standing on 4 legs.
Because Roulette was like introducing it, Toby will take a step forward and just be like, extend his hand and just be scared, but like,
as you kind of step forward to it,
you guys
lost audio.
Yeah,
Audio.
Dang, we lost it. Yeah, that's so. I don't know why that's happening. Very weird.
It's gotta be the laptop going to sleep.
Okay, I stepped forward and extended my hand.
As you go to extend your hand, 2 things happen. One, on the top half of the ball, like a mirror image from the bottom half, another slit opens, and what looks like a leg, but facing up, pulls out. But on, I'll get to that in a second. So like a leg pulls out, and it looks like essentially where a head would be. And at the very tip of the leg on the top, I like glued the sending stone. So there's like a little face on the top of this thing.
Oh my god!
And as you step forward, the legs adjust, and it like reaches up one of the legs and like puts it out to you. This is I'll give a bit of an explanation. This is Alfie. I met with Marta. She's one of the smiths back at the barracks. She basically talked me through a couple of her theoretical applications for city defenses. I told her mobility is the number one thing. So she kind of worked together, and this is essentially a joint experiment. My job, and the job I've enlisted all of you for, is to test it. I'm going to be carrying this thing around. Well, not carrying it because it can walk on its own. Going to be bringing this thing around to test out its defensive and some offensive capabilities. So Alfie here, and the name. So one of the things my daddy also always said about inventions is the second you think of something, you got to give it an alphanumeric name and number. So you categorize it, you list it, you don't forget it. I couldn't think of one. So
And this one's name is Alfred.
Well, Alfie, it's short for alphanumeric, and I just kind of named it that.
Alphanumeric.
Having to do with letters and numbers. So
Tell Piran I'm lost too.
it's he'll be following us around, helping out a bit. But it's kind of a mobile experiment for now.
But this is very impressive then, right?
I could not have done this by myself. Marta back at the barracks helped me a great deal with the smithing and the internal contraptions and workings of the thing. The runic stuff was mostly mine. Yeah.
Nuts then.
I make Alfie walk over and give metal knucks.
Amazing.
Oh, yeah, do it right.
What exactly can an Elfie do?
And Elfie.
Alfie can hold his own.
I think we're trying to find out.
His own way.
I know some of what Alfie can do. Those legs there are pretty decently strong metal and can deal quite a bit of damage if it just kind of pokes you hard enough. But joint up, if you're fighting something next to Alfie, it's an assist, I'd say. Things like this, and the goal would be to have multiple Alfies to assist an army, let's say. And my goal personally, I'm going to get the Tinkerton stamp on this bad boy, and make a bit of money, but more importantly, make the Queen here know that inventions like this come from the Tinkerton name.
Surely this is an original. I've never seen anything like this.
Oh, this is the first time first time I've ever made something like this. I know my dad had only theoretically thought of doing things like this.
Roulette, you're brilliant.
Well, give me 24 hours to make sure this thing doesn't fall apart. Then we'll go with brilliant. But I do appreciate the advanced compliment.
Wow.
Elfie, welcome to the crew. You're part of the team now.
It just like dances in a circle.
Perfect. Well, as that reveal kind of concludes and this new party member of yours joins Roulette, I think we'll call our session there.